the second all-time rusher among QBs.
Allen looks to put it up. Now he takes off. Good move by Allen. He'll have the first down. Allen, lots of time. Steps up, lots of room to run. Gets by O'Shea again. Here goes Damon Allen sliding down the 24-yard line. A pickup of 20 yards.
Tracy Ham and Damon Allen, two of the game's greatest ball carriers, and tonight they go head-to-head. From BC Place in Vancouver, it's the Montreal Alouettes, the BC Lions, on CFL Live. Live and interactive here at TSN. If you like, you can play QB1 throughout this football game. Hi again, everyone, and welcome to CFL Live. I'm Rod Smith as we wrap up Week 7 in the Canadian Football League. You know, Dave Ritchie has fond memories of his days in Vancouver. Won a Grey Cup there in 1994, but far more pressing matters now with his Alouettes struggling as they head into BC. Joined, of course, by the capable panel led by the coach Bobo Bilovich, Les Brown, and Marty York of the Globe and Mail.
I like that, capable.
Well, you're more than capable. Let's just start and we work our way up, indeed. Well, the Alouettes were really working their way up 3 weeks ago. They were 3-0, but since then, 3 straight losses and taking on a BC team that is really looking up. Let's head now to Gord Miller and Glenn Suter.
Well, Rod, we're going to steal a page from the Bobo Bilovich playbook tonight and talk about special teams. This week we've seen Mike Clemens and Henry Williams do their thing in games, and tonight we'll see the next generation, Montreal's Chris Wright and BC's Al Shipman. Chris Wright, one of the best punt returners in the league. Al Shipman, one of the best kickoff guys, Glenn.
Well, Al Shipman is getting it done, both punt and kickoff returns. Coming into this week, he was just 15 yards behind Mike Clemens in the punt return category, but he has touched the ball 11 less times. Teams are definitely keeping the ball away from Al Shipman, and in case of Chris Wright, this is a guy that 2 years ago was over 1,200 yards in punt returns, #1 in the Canadian Football League, and an All-Canadian at the specialist. So they can both get it done. They're both potential to take it all the way at any time.
And they're not the only stars in this football game, which features the leading passer in the league, Damon Allen, the leading rusher, Mike Pringle, and the leading receiver in Alfred Jackson. Rod?
Okay, thank you, Gord. But getting back to the Alouettes and the attitude they must have after they were completely smoked by the Argos at Skydome last week, I would think, Les, this is a team searching for its confidence after starting the season so strong.
You know, this team needs to come out and play with a lot of enthusiasm. We've seen in the past that when something bad happens to this team, they seem to hang their head instead of lift their game and play a lot better than what they should be playing. What I'd like to see is something that I had a hand in is their secondary. They haven't been playing all that hot lately, and they have 5 Americans starting in that secondary, which I'd like to see. It's about time for them to start gelling together and playing well.
You know, this is always becoming a special moment for me because we always talk about special teams at this time with the coach. Inevitably bringing it up, and Gord Miller got the jump on it. But true, especially with BC, special teams will be important tonight.
Well, that Gord Miller, he's talking about the stars. I want to talk about one of the guys in the trenches that's been a real player for BC. Young Steve Glenn, their long snapper, who was leading the league in special teams tackles, got hurt in the last game. And tonight, Wayne Drinkwalder will be snapping, and he's had experience doing that with Saskatchewan. But that'll be an interesting area to watch to see if he's as capable as Steve Glenn was.
Montreal Alouettes are at the 500 mark, and so too is Marty York.
Thanks for pointing that.
Wait a minute, 500 can be a good thing if you're moving on up. You were below 500 before, but you got to pick.
Thanks for mentioning that too.
You know, I keep mentioning it when you're above 500 as well, and I'll mention it, and I promise, if you go above 500 tonight, who do you
All
like?
right. Well, Rod, Las Vegas is favoring the Lions by 6 points. I've got to tell you, everyone I know is picking
the Alouettes tonight. Bob is and Les is, so naturally I'm picking the Lions. Montreal's offense has been unproductive lately. The Montreal receivers have dropped more passes than they've caught. It's no wonder they average the fewest points per game in the CFL. Defensively, the Owls have allowed the most completions in the league. Also, Montreal has the worst plus-minus in the league with a -8. And guess who has the highest plus-minus in the league? The Lions at -8. So, take the Lions, give the points, and I just don't think Eastern teams stand much of a chance against Western teams these days.
Now, that's the way it's been lately, for sure, including the Toronto Argonauts losing to Calgary. A couple of great quarterbacks, as we said, at the top of the show. Tracy Ham and his old teammate from the Edmonton days, Damon Allen. They can run and they can pass. Should be good. We'll have the kickoff from BC Plays right after this. Don't go away.
Welcome back under the big top as week number 7 in the Canadian Football League comes to a close. The BC Lions taking on the Montreal Alouettes. And on the sidelines for the Montreal Alouettes, a familiar face here in Vancouver, 58-year-old Dave Ritchie, who led the Lions to the Grey Cup championship in this stadium in 1994. On the other side, 50-year-old Adam Rita, whose BC Lions certainly qualify as the most improved team in the league right now as they look to improve their record to 5-2 on the season. Adam Rita's team has improved dramatically on offense and defensively as well. BC has dramatically improved over 1 year ago. And back deep to receive the kickoff, 3 dangerous men from left to right. Corey Philpott, then Larry Thompson, and number 1 is Al Shipman, who really has electrified fans throughout the Canadian Football League with his work on kickoff returns. And Al Shipman averaging 24.2 yards a return on kickoffs. Mike Clemens is right behind him on the kickoff return list. Terry Baker, the veteran kicker for the Montreal Alouettes, former Ottawa Rough Rider and Toronto Argonaut, will kick it off. And for Montreal, a chance to jump back in the Eastern Conference race after the Toronto Argonauts were beaten on Thursday night, but of prime concern to the Owls and this 3-game losing streak, which has seen them get throttled in 3 consecutive weeks. And we have a flag before the first play. I've never seen that. That's a bad sign.
I sure hope that's not an indication of what's going to happen tonight.
Delay a game, Montreal, number 10.
Wow.
Now, I know Terry Baker wasn't audibling.
How about this? I've never seen that before.
You know what he's saying? You guys didn't whistle it into me. He didn't hear the whistle that it was the 20 seconds that started. He only has 20 seconds to kick the ball off. Didn't know it, so he's in there talking to the boys, getting them fired up.
And Dave Ritchie's having his first argument with the officials, breaking the old CFL record for the first argument with a referee.
Oh, boy.
Set numerous times. So Baker will kick it off now from the 25. And this is Corey Philpott from his 20. Philpott out across the 30, gets up to the 33-yard line. Stop is made there by Kirk Smith. Damon Allen, the 33-year-old, leads this BC offense. He enters this week as the #1 rated quarterback in the Canadian Football League, on pace to pass for 4,500 yards. That would be a career high. Philpott and Millington join him in the backfield. Thompson, Trevathan, Shipman, and Jackson are the receivers. Getting the ball to Mike Trevathan more has been a Lion priority. And up front, Mike Withacombe, formerly a member of the Montreal Alouettes, is the BC center. And Allen begins from the shotgun on first down. Pump fake by Damon Allen, who now throws it over the middle and has Corey Philpott. Philpott up across the 50, dives to the 51-yard line, a 19-yard gain, and a BC Lion first down. And Glenn, the spotlight very much on Corey Philpott here in BC. It's clear that he's not being used the way he has been in the past. And now there has been discussions about perhaps him wanting to be traded.
Well, yeah, and I don't know if it's gone that far. There has been some discussions, but Corey Philpott obviously upset. He likes to get the ball behind Damon Allen in running plays, and he's been lined up at wide receiver for the most part this year.
Which is where he's lined up now at the top of your screen. Allen, quick throw, setting up the screen for Sean Millington, who does a nice job making the catch. Jumping up to make the stop was Anthony Drawhorn after a gain of 8, a shoestring catch by the BC fullback will bring up second and a couple. Well, the Montreal Alouette defense is one that is very tough on the run, and it's a 3-4 alignment. You don't see this much anymore. And keep an eye on Larry McSeed, number 31, who's having a breakout rookie season for Montreal. And the defensive backfield includes a former teammate of yours, Glenn, Anthony Drawhorn, playing your old position of safety.
Well, yeah, he says it's not really like a true safety because they'll roll that coverage with Anthony Drawhorn back there. He can come up and play like a halfback position, so that gives Dave Ritchie some more options defensively.
Second and short for the Lions, and Allen under center with Millington deep in the backfield. And the give goes to the big fullback, but he's stopped up short. Millington might have got it on second effort, but he has to get across the 50-yard line. Didn't appear to do so. Tom Hips was the first man to make contact along with Alfred Payton. And we see an early gambling situation now for the BC Lions, and Adam Rita not in a gambling mood by the look of it.
No, Sean Millington will take it right off to the sideline. The punt team comes on for BC, and not a bad decision. It's a long yard for Adam Rita. Right now, why give early momentum and great field position to Montreal if you don't get it?
Think about the game we saw last night where Hamilton on 3rd and 1 was stuffed. Yeah. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders drove the ball downfield on 7 plays to score the decisive touchdown. There he is, Chris Wright, out last year with an ankle injury, but back with a vengeance this year. And Passaglia trying to kick it away from him. Good high kick by Passaglia. Takes a BC bounce to Wright at the 5. And Wright is dropped at the 6. Sammy Brennan and Maurice Kelly make the stop. A 45-yard punt. Chris Wright limited to a 1-yard return in Vancouver.
The CFL Live on TSN is brought to you by Advantage, providing solutions for business. And by Gatorade. Life is a sport. Drink it up.
Back at the stadium at BC Place, where 33-year-old Tracy Ham will direct the offense for the Montreal Alouettes, who lead the league in almost every significant rushing category. Tracy Ham with 5 touchdown passes this year, but the Montreal Alouettes tied for last in the league with just 6 touchdown passes entering this week. They love to grind it out along the ground. In fact, Montreal and BC account for 4 of the league's top 10 rushers. On first down from the 6, Mike Pringle, the league's leading rusher, busts through to get to about the 10-yard line. And the pickup was 5 yards. Tyrone Chapman made the stop. Joining Tracy Ham in the offensive alignment for the Montreal Alouettes, Souls and Pringle in the backfield. Denny Montana and Chris Wright outside. Chris Armstrong and Jock Climby are inside. Armstrong, the leading receiver for this team, with 499 yards. And the offensive line is a big one, designed to beat you down. Ham slides it out there for Jock Climby. He'll have a first down as he's forced out of bounds up at the 18-yard line. Robert Holland pushed him out as Jock Climby has a pickup of 7 yards. And Jock Climby, steady as the rent. Over 400 yards receiving so far this year, and just getting the job done like he always has.
And he's the #1 receiver for Tracy Ham in catches. He has 35 so far this year, and Chris Armstrong, who has more yards, has 25 catches. So when Tracy Ham gets in trouble, he looks for Jock Climby.
He looks for Armstrong over and Climby under. It's worked out well. From the shotgun, play action fake to Pringle. Ham sets it up for Michael Soul. And the big fullback with some room to run. Puts his helmet down and gets past Greg Frères. Michael Soul with a first down as he gets out to about the 38-yard line. A gain of 20 yards.
Well, Michael Souls is right up here, and the line's going to sneak out, but the BC defense has to respect the play-action fake to Mike Pringle, and that's why Souls is allowed to get outside the defense, and you see Maurice Kelly trying to get out there. Maurice Kelly had to stay in and respect Mike Pringle, and that gave Souls the angle.
Another first down for the Alouettes, who began this drive at their own 6. Back to the ground. Pringle on first down. Gets past the first wave. Pringle still going. Mike Pringle breaks into BC territory and lost the football. Davy Lyons has the fumble, and the BC Lions pick it up. Pringle arguing that he was down. A 26-yard gain, but a fumble at the end, and Mike Pringle standing in the middle of the field with his helmet off, screaming that he was down on the play.
Well, it was vintage Mike Pringle from start to the very end of the play. Watch how he keeps his legs churning as he hits up in the hole. He runs right through the tackle of David Marieva and Maurice Kelly, and this keeps those feet going. Now, he was arguing that he was down before that ball came out. It's tough to see from that angle, but here he goes right now, right up the middle now. Does his knees get down before the ball comes out?
Looked like it.
Looked like both knees were on the ground. May have argument there.
And play is called here before Damon Allen can take the snap from center. Interesting to note that last year the Montreal Alouettes had the best takeaway giveaway ratio in the league, and this year they are worse.
Time count foul. BC number 9. Still first down.
That drops them to -9, by far the worst in the Canadian Football League. And as the guys in the studio mentioned, the BC Lions by far the best in the league, now at +13. And you won't see championship teams in the minus totals in the giveaway takeaway.
No, Adam Rena was real happy with the performance of Damon Allen protecting the football. He's done a great job of it this year.
Time count violation brings up 1st and 15. And Allen from the shotgun sets up the screen pass, this time to Al Shipman. Shipman got tangled up with his own lineman that time, Mo Eloanimi, and that might have limited the gain as Shipman gets back to the original line of scrimmage, and then a couple more, a pickup of 7 yards. All-purpose yards can be a deceiving stat sometimes, Glenn, because they tend to favor guys who play on both special teams, but in Al Shipman's case, pretty indicative of the contribution he makes.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, we talked about Al Shipman and Chris Wright at the beginning of the show, and Shipman way ahead in all-purpose yards, but Chris Wright doesn't run back kickoffs. Al Shipman does, so that's a bunch of yards right there.
A below-average kickoff is an 18-yard return.
Exactly.
So that's an above-average punt return. On 2nd down, Allen from the shotgun under pressure. Allen gets away, can't find anyone open. Still waiting, he slings it deep. He's got a man, Alfred Jackson. He's got it, and Jackson down to the 13-yard line. Tripped up by Torrey Hunter in the slowest developing play I've ever seen. A gain of 56 yards.
Well, in fairness to Torrey Hunter, he's right up here at the top of your screen, going to work all the way across the formation. In fairness to Torrey Hunter, this play takes so long to develop that Alfred Jackson, who just go out of your screen and come back as the ball's delivered, gets in behind the coverage. If you have that much time to throw, I don't care how good a defensive back you are, you can't stay with Alfred Jackson all game.
Chalk one up to Damon Allen's elusiveness. 1st down now for BC. Allen now to the end zone, and it hit the upright.
Okay, now I'll give Damon Allen $100 if he can do that again.
I'll give him 10 balls. If he can do it twice, I'd be shocked. And Jackson was open, too.
Yeah, he was. He tried to get the ball up and over. Alfred Jackson doing the post pattern. This one.
That's the ultimate post pattern right there.
he
had the post dead on that time.
Yeah, that's the 13th player for Montreal right there and knocks her down.
Okay, next time, don't do the post quite like that.
Yeah. Behind the post pattern is a little bit better there.
2nd down and 10. Allen to the end zone again. Jackson, touchdown! Jackson has his 4th touchdown of the year.
In the papers all week in Montreal, the secondary for the Alouettes have been talking about the fact that they're going to lock down the BC receivers. The newspaper articles were sent out to BC, and Alfred Jackson read them, and I was talking to some of the lines today. He was fired up for this football game.
Lou Pasaglia for the point after. It is good. And so are the BC Lions. They take advantage of the Pringle fumble, drive the ball down the field, and Alfred Jackson has the touchdown catch to put the Lions on top by a count of 7-0. Well, it started on defense. Damian Lyons recovers the fumble by Mike Pringle as the ball was punched out. And that set up the drive by the BC Lions, capped off by this Damon Allen 13-yard touchdown pass.
And you saw Anthony Drawhorn flash across the screen. Damon Allen knew he had man-to-man defense, and I guess when he's got man-to-man, you know who he's going to go for. Alfred Jackson, who had the big game against Winnipeg, who likes to play a lot of man-to-man coverage. And if Montreal's going to do it, number 7 could have a big night tonight.
Damon Allen with his 8th touchdown pass of the year. Now Chris Wright on the kickoff return from the 20. He's got a seam. Here comes Chris Wright. Trying to get outside. And is finally tripped up by the man who kicked it off, Julio Caravata. But a 40-yard kickoff return out to the 50-yard line. There's a flag down on the play.
The flag came way late. Chris Wright was about 20 yards away from where the flag is sitting when it hit the turf.
And it's an illegal block against the Montreal Alouettes, which will negate much of the 40-yard return.
Legal block, Montreal, number 30, first down.
Bruno Heppel, number 30, a backup running back, is called for the illegal block. As a result, the Montreal Alouettes will have the ball at their own 34-yard line, a loss of about 30 yards.
Well, check the right of your screen. Heppel right there with the tackle. You see the tackle right there, and it's a good call by the official because it definitely impacted the play.
Alouettes now with the first down. Mike Pringle on the carry, tries the right side, and Pringle, who has run the ball well despite the early fumble, gets out across the 40 to about the 41. Mark it up as a gain of 8.
Well, David Mieva and Maurice Kelly for the BC Lions have had pretty good seasons so far, but they haven't faced Michael Pringle running out of the backfield, and they talked about they have to stop him and how important it is to stop the run, especially on first down. Well, David Mieva and Maurice Kelly have to bow their necks today because Mike Pringle, although he's not a big guy at 5'9", 190, is a load. He's tough to bring down.
And they just ran behind Neil Fort, who the program says is 310. And that time Pringle tripped up, and that brings us the first down up to the 45-yard line. Neil Fort might have been 310 when he was 10. But this offensive line, as we mentioned earlier, is really built for the run, and it's quite a mismatch when you look at the big men up front for Montreal. There's Neil Fort, and the small guys for the BC Lions. You look outside, Maurice Kelly's 190 playing linebacker. David Mieva's 210, maybe soaking wet. So the big boys up front, the big piggies, can really push them around.
What did you call him?
The big piggies.
Okay, well, I'll mention that to him.
The hog.
Yeah, okay.
They like that when you call them piggies. Ham wants to go deep, and that pass was almost intercepted. Jumping in front of that was the safety, Greg Frere.
Now, as we say, Maurice Kelly, David Mieva may have trouble with the run tonight. They definitely won't have trouble with the pass, and all three of the Lions linebackers went on the blitz on Tracy Ham that time, and because of their quickness, Ham had really no time to throw the football.
David Mieva, who scored a key defensive touchdown for the BC Lions last week in Hamilton, one of 3 they scored in the fourth quarter to break that game open. And we saw his guy surfing in a typhoon touchdown day. Ham on second down. All kinds of pressure for Ham. Sidearms it out there, and it is knocked away by Maurice Kelly. Yeah. Maurice Kelly with a great job to dive across and take that one away from Jock Climbing.
Well, Maurice Kelly's missed a couple of tackles tonight on Mike Pringle, but this is where he excels. Tracy Ham doesn't have a whole lot of time. He has to get out of the pocket, and then he finds receiver downfield. But watch the closing speed for Maurice Kelly. He was about 4 steps behind, but number 11 made it up. He has a couple interceptions on the year. He's a good pass-covering linebacker. Really a DB. Sorry, Gordon.
Terry Baker to punt. And back deep to receive. This is Al Shipman from the 15. Al Shipman wanting to do his thing. Gets tripped up as he gets out to the 25-yard line. Stop is made by Alan Wetmore after a 10-yard return of a 50-yard punt. The BC Lions have the lead and will have the ball when we come back. Former teammates, best friends, Damon Allen and Tracy Ham have a lot more than that in common. They're number 1 and 2 on the CFL's all-time rushing list for quarterbacks. Ham is the leader over Allen, but not by much, just 113 yards. In fact, this year, Tracy Ham is the top rushing quarterback. He's 6th overall in the league. Damon Allen is 2nd, but they're only 18 yards apart. These two guys both cut their starts with the Edmonton Eskimos. And meantime, on the field, making his way off slowly, is Paul Randolph, injured on that last punt cover, and you can have a look at what happened to him.
He's right there, and watch his right knee as he breaks to the right. Sort of buckles to the inside, and he grabs it right away.
One of those non-contact turf injuries that we've seen so much of. First down for the Lions. Draw play to give it up to Corey Philpott, and Philpott runs smack into Tom Hips, among others. And it's actually probably a loss of a couple as Hips comes up to make the tackle. One of the first-year men who has made this team, and Tom Hips out of Tacoma, Washington, or actually out of Toronto, rather, in the University of Toronto. has made an impact in the middle.
Sorry, one of the nicest surprises for Dave Ritchie in training camp. Really done a nice job all the way from the beginning of camp, and it really anchors that run.
Now Allen on 2nd and long, being chased, just dumps it to Philpott. Philpott's got one man to beat, but that one man, Torrey Hunter, does a great job of forcing Philpott out of bounds, well short of a BC first down, a pickup of 7, but the Lions will be forced to punt.
Lord, Larry McSeed really makes the play. He's kind of coming on a delayed blitz rush on Damon Allen and keeps him in the pocket.
Well, Torrey Hunter, who made that last play a moment ago, is the guy who is from Tacoma, Washington, by way of Washington State University, and like a lot of guys that come out here and play, he needed tickets today. His toughest job today is tickets. Chris Wright back to receive the punt from Luke Pasaglia. All kinds of early movement and all kinds of finger pointing going on. Is Louis thinking of throwing? I don't think so.
Well, he's thrown a couple in the past. He's actually a 58% passer all time.
Oh, he should be. He's a good quarterback,
yeah.
Simon Fraser.
Simon Fraser. He's gone in his career 18 for 31. Over 400 yards passing. That's not bad for a punter.
Hey, yeah. Probably the all-time leader among punters.
League of procedure. BC, number 11, still 3rd down.
Strangely enough, the league doesn't keep that stat, all-time passing yards by punters, but they, you know, by rights, they really should.
Yeah, I had to dig long and hard to get that one.
Lou's been around so long that the guy they brought in to replace him, Julio Caravata, is now close to retirement. Pasaglia with a punt that bounces high to Chris Wright at the 45-yard line. And here comes Wright again. Finally tackled as he gets down to the 45-yard line. Andrew English makes the stop, a 40-yard punt, a return of 21 yards. So Louis just keeps getting it done with the kicks. He, like Bob Cameron, just seems to be ageless, but all-time games played doesn't even seem to be fair. Although Miles Gurrell, I got to say, got headbutted a lot more in his 321 games than Louis has. Well, we have a moment down to David Pratt.
Gordo, the situation with Randolph is that as he was coming down on that kickoff, he heard the sound rather that every football player hates to hear, that pop. It was in his right knee. They're looking at it right now. Not all that concerned about it, but they are worried that he may be gone for the rest of the game. But again, it doesn't look that serious.
Thank you, David. Tracy Ham with a pass. It's almost picked off by another guy who made a big play last week against Hamilton, Leonard Humphreys. He, too, had an INT return for a touchdown, and Humphreys there almost had another pick.
It's been an interesting season for Leonard Humphreys. You know, he'll get beat for a touchdown one play and then come back and intercept one for a touchdown. He comes across the curl and really beats receivers to the ball there. He knocks it down, really should have had the catch.
And 2 receivers in the area for Montreal, which attracted more Lions than they probably wanted there.
Someone zigged when they should have zagged for Montreal.
2nd down. Ham, lots of time, swinging it out there, and it bounces out. He was looking for Denny Montana. The pass is incomplete. Montreal will once again go to the sidelines, and Tracy Ham saying, I can't throw it much better than that.
Well, he is so frustrated. In the last 3 games, the Montreal Alouettes have dropped 27 passes. And when you're the quarterback, you can't do it any better. You throw it in there, you got to hope that your receiver makes the catch, and you can see the frustration in Tracy Ham.
He just saw the replay on the big screen.
27 drops in 3 games. That's way too many.
Terry Baker now out to try the field goal. His longest of the year is 44. This try comes from 51 yards out. He's got it up, and he hit the upright.
Okay, I'd give him...
All right, that's it.
I'd give him 100 footballs, and he doesn't do that twice. He doesn't do that one more time.
Wow.
You're going to give Damon 10. I'll give him 100 and see if he can kick it.
Maybe the Lions are using thicker ones this week. I mean, he hit that square. He hit that thing right in the mind.
I used to joke with Dave Ridgway in practice when I was holding for him and say, you know, I'll buy dinner tonight if you can hit the upright with it. And 50 kicks later, he still had to do it in the game.
I guess you owe Terry Baker dinner then.
I owe Terry Baker dinner.
Terry Baker had one of the all-time nightmare evenings for a kicker here a few years ago for Ottawa. He was struggling on field goals, and while practicing on the sidelines, actually missed the kicker's net.
Oh, that's a rough night.
Suffice to say, the crowd was all over him. Damon Allen now for Mike Trevathan. And Trevathan forgot to drop the tailgate. That falls through, and Mike Trevathan had 3 catches last week after having just 3 in the 3 games previous to that.
Okay.
And meantime, on the Montreal sideline, Paul Randolph with the ice bag on that right knee. And it's tough enough to get hurt, but when no one touches you, it's even worse.
Yeah, with the way they're packing up that ice, we probably won't see Paul Randolph, at least in this half.
Early movement as Jamie Terrace gets into it there, as it appeared that Dave Peterson moved early.
Legal procedure, BC, number 60, still second down.
Jamie Terrace moves his right hand. When you get into three-point stance, you cannot move. One hand is down, the other hand's kind of leaned back on Terrace, and that's why Doug Peterson took off and went after him. Any kind of movement, he'll go right. He'll take off and go, so Terrace gets the illegal procedure call.
Brings up 2nd and 15 now from the 20. Allen, lots of time looking for Alfred Jackson. Oh, what a defensive play Irv Smith made. Alfred Jackson, I think, was already heading for the end zone when Irv Smith picked his pocket.
Irv Smith played the zone defense perfectly. He stayed outside on Damon Allen and made it look like Alfred Jackson was open from start to finish. When the ball's in the air, he closes on it and then lays out for his team-leading 6th knockdown. He's coming right across here, and Irv Smith's going to just lay out, get both hands on the football, and knock it down.
What an athletic play by Irv Smith. And the BC Lions once again forced to punt as the Alouettes are winning the battle for field position. High kick. Right from his 50. Out across midfield. Loops back and Frank Himmelskird makes the stop. A return of 5 after a 40-yard punt. The Alouettes should have excellent field position once again as Chris Wright is doing what he was advertised he can do.
Well, he had a big game in the opening game of the season for Montreal. Had a punt return for a touchdown, and sort of felt like from that point on it was going to be pretty easy. He struggled a little bit throughout the season, but he started to get a little frustrated, and talking to his teammates, he said he really wanted to have a big game and sort of break out of a shell tonight.
Wright stays out there at wide receiver. First down for the Montreal Alouettes from their own 54-yard line. Ham gives it off to Michael Souls. Big hole up the middle as Souls into BC territory, crosses the 50 and gets down to the 48-yard line. A pickup of 8 yards. And Michael Souls just continues to get it done. Started his career with the Edmonton Eskimos, now a Montreal Alouette. And look at his per carry average of 5.3 yards for a fullback.
Michael Souls hasn't got the ball a lot this season, only 7 carries coming into this game, so as we saw by his numbers, he can get it done. He just hasn't been involved yet in Tracy Ham's offense.
Tracy Ham running out of time here, gets the play off. This is Pringle. Oh, he ran right into Tyrone Chapman. The CFL's leading rusher ran right into the Chapman. It'll be 3rd down, and Montreal will have to punt.
I had a conversation with Tyrone Chapman just before the game, and I said to him, what do you think about all the people telling you that you're too small to stop the run? And the reply I got, I can't repeat on TV.
Oh, really? One of those, huh?
One of those replies, but he just showed it. He walked it like he talked it right there.
If you were typing it on a typewriter, it would be a little circly thing, the exclamation point, the number sign.
That's exactly what it'd be.
Right.
You could see the fire in his eyes when I mentioned the name Mike Pringle as well.
Al Shipman and Andrew English back to receive the kick from Terry Baker. Montreal, blessed with great field position, has been unable to take advantage. That kick almost blocked, and now a flag comes down. Peter Miller hit the kicker. Andrew English will surrender the single point, but Terry Baker is down on the turf, and this will be a Montreal Alouette first down. Now, Baker wants roughing, not contacted.
Or both. He wants both. Because this was just contacting. Peter Miller takes a gamble here. He thinks he's got a great shot at the ball. If he touches the ball, he's allowed to hit the kicker. He didn't touch it. Hamilton will get the ball, or excuse me, Montreal gets the ball back.
Unnecessary roughness, roughing the kicker. BC, number 91, first down Montreal.
Now that's a big penalty. As opposed to contacting the kicker, it's roughing the kicker 15 yards. And now the Alouettes have have the ball at the 33 as Montreal native Peter Miller gives the Alouettes a second chance. The former Calvin Klein model, by the way.
Well, it's tough to talk to Peter Miller right now. You're saying, listen, we appreciate you going in there to make the big play, but just get your hands on the football. You can't tell a player not to sell out when he's free like that.
Assistant coach Frank Smith talking to him. First down, Tracy Ham dumps it off for Souls, wide open. Souls has the safety man, Greg Freres, in front of him. And Souls put his shoulder into Freres, but he comes up and makes the stop. But not until Michael Souls goes 23 yards.
Great game plan by the Montreal Alouettes this game. They know how much BC Lions will be keying on Mike Pringle, so they've involved Souls on a couple of running plays and a little play-action pass where Souls has slipped out of the backfield.
It's a first down for the Montreal Alouettes just outside the 10-yard line. They should be able to get in, or get a first down, rather, without scoring. Ham, lots of time. Look out, Ham gets away. Finally tied up by David Neva as Ham gets a gain of 1. Tracy Ham had all day back there, but simply couldn't find anyone open.
Well, you have to give credit to the secondary. Leonard Humphreys, Don Wilson, Freres, Holland, and Lyons, because Ham had no one to throw to.
And there's a flag on the play.
Legal contact. Now the receiver, BC, number 22. First down, Montreal.
Now, Robert Holland is called for illegal contact. Maybe that's why they couldn't find anyone open downfield. As a result, it'll be first and goal, Montreal, from the 5. First and goal, Montreal trailing 7-0. Should be the final play of the quarter.
Guess who's getting the rock?
I'd guess Pringle. Option. And Ham is tripped up. Textbook way to play the option. Johnny Scott, just back in the lineup for BC, trips up the Montreal quarterback. That's the final play of the first quarter. The BC Lions with a 7-0 lead on Montreal. The Alouettes down to the goal line when we come back. For right now, we'll send you back to CFL Live Control.
CFL Live at the Quarter is brought to you by Midas for new, longer-lasting carbon metallic brake pads.
And welcome back to our CFL Live Control Studio. Rod Smith back with Obi, Les, and Marty. It is the plight of any official in any sport. It's like snapping on third down. No one notices unless you do something wrong. That said, Les, there are certain decisions made by officials this week especially that deserve some scrutiny, including tonight.
I wonder if these are the same officials that were in Hamilton last night. But you know what? Montreal is being faced with some challenges right now. Bad things happening to them, and they have to pick up their game like I mentioned at the beginning of the game. As we're going to see here on this long pass, look where the ball is spotted. It is right on the other side of the 40-yard line. When this play is run, and then the pass is done, Damon Allen is on the 41, which means he's past the line of scrimmage. Referees missed it. It's a big play that leads to a touchdown. As we see, it's a fake right there, but when he throws this ball, he is on the 41-yard line.
Yeah, but isn't it interesting, Les, that the official did throw the flag when it was really important to throw the flag at the opening kickoff. I mean, for a delay of game yet. I've never seen that before. Have you guys?
No.
I don't, come on, refs. You guys got to stop that. People aren't paying to watch you guys. And then at the Pringle fumble, I mean, I don't know what they were. Why didn't they call that ball dead?
Yes.
Both of his knees were down.
Brown
Let's have a look at
cause
that.
a fumble.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, he's down. That ball's real dead. And I'm telling you, Rod, there's GMs in this league who are becoming increasingly tired of the officials.
Yeah, and general managers complaining, certainly other members of the player, probably players complaining at this point. We'll have more on that on the half. Paul Randolph goes down, Obi. Injury to a Canadian linebacker. They need some depth there.
Well, they traded for Ray Bernard, and that might be a key move now if he's used for Randolph's injury.
Okay, so it is Montreal trailing by 7, but threatening. Let's head back to BC Place.
All right, thank you, Rod. Second and goal, Montreal now from the 7. Ham to the end zone, climbing, touchdown. the first quarter of adversity, and now Tracy Ham finds Jock Climie for his second touchdown of the year. Tracy Ham's 6th touchdown toss of the season.
Jock Climie is Tracy Ham's #1 receiver in receptions. They're on the same page, have been all year. And Don Wilson, who's a veteran halfback covering Jock Climie, guesses it comes under for the ball, but when Ham sees that, he puts a little more air on it, and with the end zone 20 yards deep in the Canadian Football League, it's tough to guess and come under like that, and Don Wilson did it and lost.
Terry Baker puts the point after up and good, and this game is tied at 7. And as you might expect, a good team from Montreal and a good team from BC slugging it out here tonight.
This is the type of game we thought we'd see. I mean, you're going to see a lot of running from Pringle, and then the play action to Jock Climie and Chris Armstrong.
We're coming back. Good job, fellas. We're in this thing, baby.
But the key is a healthy Tracy Ham. You watched him the first 3 games of the season this year, and he looked like the Tracy Ham of old the way he was running. Now, he's had a couple of injury problems. Had an ankle. He was dinged, a little bit of a concussion last week. So the concern for Montreal has been whether or not he's healthy.
And don't forget, BC's first touchdown was set up by a fumble. Montreal's is set up by a roughing the kicker call against Peter Miller, who gets the honor of explaining it on BC radio.
Well, here's the roughing the kicker call. He does not touch the football and hits Terry Baker pretty hard. And doing it, when you dive to try and block the ball, you have to dive to avoid the kicker. And here comes the touchdown catch, and you can see Don Wilson guessed came underneath.
7-7 is the score, and for just the 7th time this year, the Montreal Alouettes throw a touchdown pass. And they were tied for last in the league in that category, entering this week number 7. Terry Baker with a high kickoff. Corey Philpott from the 10. That hit him in the mask. Makes the catch on his roller skates, and that thing was just jinxed from the beginning. Philpott gets out to the 22-yard line, a 12-yard return. After the roughing the kicker penalty, Montreal didn't have to go far. 56 yards in 7 plays. 3:07 the time of possession, and Montreal ties the game at 7.
Well, they got into a little bit of trouble when Mike Pringle and Tracy Ham were stuffed on an option play, something that we'll talk about a little bit later on. I don't think they're going to have a lot of success running to the outside, but Jock Climie comes to the rescue, gets in behind Don Wilson on the next play.
Damon Allen and the offense now go to work from their own 21-yard line. Corey Philpott on first down has the room. Philpott still going out across the 35. He gets to the 38-yard line. Tracy Gravely and Harold Nash make the stop, but Corey Philpott gets it done with a 16-yard carry, exactly what he wants to do.
A little bit of a draw play for Damon Allen. Alfred Payton has to come upfield and respect the fact that Allen could keep the ball and roll out, and when he does that, it creates a little bit of a seam for Corey Philpott, and that's all he needs.
First down, Lions. Now Allen to the shotgun. Receiver screen to Al Shipman, waiting for a block. Shipman gets out to the 45. Stop is made there by Anthony Drawhorn and Alfred Payton, pickup of 6 yards. That play is really, sorry, Glenn, making a comeback this year.
Yeah, it is, and the reason is because you got guys running backs. You think of Toronto with Pinball Clements, and you got Al Shipman here. Running backs that really can catch the ball well out of the backfield. So that creates this play. They're going to try and get the ball in number 1's hands here in BC any way they can. One way is a little dump passes like that. You'll see some reverses. You'll also run the play.
And on the other side of the field, Corey Philpott is down for the BC Lions. And let's see what happened to him.
He's going to come in right at the top of your... He's right at the top of your screen, and follow Corey Philpott on the play and see exactly what happens.
He just came up lane. He just rolled out of bounds. There wasn't anyone within 5 yards
Well,
of
it happened to Paul Randolph, and he has the ice packs on his knee, and now they're looking at Corey Philpott's knee.
Wow. And they say AstroTurf doesn't cause injuries. I think Corey Philpott and Paul Randolph might disagree. 2nd and 4. Allen, screen for Shipman. Great catch, here he goes. One man to beat. There goes Al Shipman. It's a foot race. Touchdown. a 66-yard pass and run score with a big assist to Jamie Terrace. Lou Pasaglia puts the point after up and good, and the BC Lions are climb their way back on top. The score, BC 14, Montreal 7. All season long, the BC Lions have talked about finding a way to get Al Shipman in the offense. Violet under Dunn.
Well, you know, Damon Allen at the beginning of the year was putting in a new offense with new personnel, and he knew once the timing got right, and this play is timed up perfectly, he had the athletes to get it done, and then that's the athletic ability of Al Shipman, but the timing of that play brings Shipman into the secondary.
Damon Allen having some kind of start. He's 9 for 12 passing for 181 yards, 2 touchdowns. Damon Allen is averaging 20 yards per completion in this football game. Stephon Reed was the man with the best chance to get Al Shipman in replacement of Paul Randolph, but he wasn't able to trip him up. Now the kickoff taken by Mike Pringle from the 20. Here comes Pringle. Pringle out across the 50, gets up to the 52-yard line. Robert Holland and Brad Yamoko there to make the stop, but a 30-yard kickoff return by the league's #1 rusher. Montreal has had outstanding field position throughout this game, but trails 14-7.
Well, you think back to the Pringle fumble that possibly wasn't a fumble, and maybe Tracy Ham has a chance there to get some more points on the board. So a couple of turnovers cost the Montreal Alouettes so far in this game.
Pringle lines up in the backfield behind Michael Soule. First down, they give it off to Pringle, and he hits the crease flying. Mike Pringle into BC territory down to the 40-yard line. Greg Frères makes the stop, and Mike Pringle was going about 40 miles an hour when he hit the point of attack.
Yeah, this is the way you attack the BC Lions defense, right up the middle, not to the outside. Now, Mike Pringle's going to catch a seam here, and he's gone. You see Chapman, 56, get caught in the mix. And a pretty good open field tackle by Greg Frères saves a touchdown for Montreal.
An 18-yard gain for Mike Pringle, who took some abuse at the end of the play from Johnny Scott. And now there's an injured BC Lion down on the play, and it is Johnny Scott who was hurt. Scott came tumbling over Mike Pringle at the end of that play, and I thought he gave him a shot in the head on his way by, and we'll see what happened.
He may be a little bit woozy.
So Johnny Scott just back in the lineup is injured again.
Johnny Scott is right here, coming pursuit on Pringle and goes head-to-head with him right there, and you see his head and neck snap to the right.
So Johnny Scott is down on the play, but his BC Lions have the lead. Back to BC Place on the CFL Live right after this.
The CFL Live on TSN is brought to you in part by Midas for new, longer-lasting carbon metallic brake pads.
Back at BC Place, Johnny Scott getting medical attention. Brooks Finley takes his spot. First down, Montreal at the BC 40. Tracy Ham pump fake, gets away from Joe Fleming. Now runs into Dave Chaters and just fires that one away. Ham throws that one out of bounds. It'll bring up second down. Tracy Ham almost ran into a low bridge there named Chaters.
Well, first of all, he did a great job of getting away from Joe Fleming, who was the first one in there, and then Dave Chaters, who stayed discipline. Usually when a guy on your team has a crack at the quarterback, you may decide to leave your lane. Chaters doesn't. You see 76, Joe Fleming has a shot at Ham right there. Now that's usually when everyone starts to scramble because you think he's down. Chaters stays outside and gets a good shot on Tracy Ham, who has to throw the ball away. He has no choice.
Second down. Ham's under pressure. Flags are down. Ham gets it away to Michael Soule. Long way to go for Soule, who runs right into the BC tackler. Stuffed by Joe Fleming.
What a series of plays by Joe Fleming.
There is a flag down on the play. And they're talking to the BC Lions. I think it's holding against Montreal. Now, do you take the penalty here because it might move the Alouettes out of field goal range? That might be the thinking for the Lions.
Holding. Montreal, number 62, declined. Good job.
They'll decline it. Montreal will try the field goal from 47 yards out. Remember, Terry Baker hit the upright on his last try. Bruce Beaton, the man who was called, the former BC Lion.
What a job by Joe Fleming, though, on this play to get in the backfield on Tracy Ham. Works this way on a little bit of a stunt. He's going to get in the backfield on Tracy Ham first. He gets him down. Now Ham scrambles away and does deliver the football, and then Fleming goes and makes a tackle on Soul.
From 46 yards out, Terry Baker puts it up and good. The Montreal Alouettes pull within 4 with 10:57 to play in the first half. BC's lead is cut to 14-10. Now, interesting strategy decision there by the Lions. If you take the penalty, you give Montreal 2nd and 20 from the 50-yard line.
Yeah.
Or you let them have 3rd and 10 and make them try the field goal. What do you think?
Well, Adam Rita says, okay, we go 2nd and 20. Yes, it's 20 yards, but guess who has the football in his hand? Tracy Ham. And he's seen Ham execute 2nd and 20 before, so let's get away with it. Give them the 3 points and get our offense on the field. Plus, 46 yards is not a gimme field goal.
Yeah, I wasn't second-guessing. I was just, you know.
No, yeah.
Just, you know.
Yeah, I hear you. You second-guessed his close in the past. I know you wouldn't second-guess his play calling.
I was just musing. Damon Allen on 1st down. Lots of time for Allen. Slings it, and Al Shipman makes the tackle. Makes the catch, rather. I think he intercepted that pass. I think that ball was going to Larry Thompson in behind him, and Shipman just went up and got it.
Okay, now the question for Al Shipman here in BC has been, we know he's a great punt returner, but is he a great receiver? Well, you be the judge on this catch.
See, I think that was the Larry Thompson right behind him, and he just went up and got it.
Well, he went up and got it with a little bit of help of those right there.
Ah, the gloves.
Those are special gloves made by his coach, Jim Sandusky.
Here's the toss to Shipman on 1st down, and he and the gloves get out across the 50 to the 51-yard line. And fumble. It's scooped up by the Alouettes. And don't look now, but Larry McSeed scoops up the loose ball and is deep into BC territory. So the gloves work the catch, but maybe not so well on the run. And McSeed, who, as we mentioned, is having a breakout season for the Alouettes, recovers the fumble and takes it down to the BC 25-yard line.
Well, here comes Shipman running up the field, and you're going to see the ball pop right out of there. It hits the back of his teammate. Now, was he down?
Now, that's intriguing. He might argue, too, that he was down, but he was down on top of his teammate. Now, 1st down, Montreal from the 25-yard line. The Owls with a chance to take the lead. Ham, play action. Over the middle, climbing. Big catch down to the 2. Greg Frères unloads on him, but Jock Climbey has a 23-yard gain.
Well, no one in the Canadian Football League can question Jock Climbey's courage. Because by the time this play develops, Jock Climbey knows the safety, Greg Frères, is bearing down on him and that he is going to get hit. And he takes a big hit, but he hangs on to the football.
And there's Larry McSeed, the man who recovered the fumble. And now he's given his team a chance to take the lead for the first time. 1st and goal from the 2. Pringle doesn't get there. Now the Lions say they have the ball. Johnny Scott jumps up with it, but they'll rule that Pringle was down to the 1.
Well, pretty good quickness by the and surge by the BC defensive line. You see Maurice Kelly going in there and held him short. Tough to see the ball come out from that look, but the official was right on the spot.
2nd and goal from the 1. Soul doesn't get there. Great stop by the BC defense. The left side hammers in, and it looked like Johnny Scott and Virgil Robertson were the men who got there.
Well, Scott and Virgil Robertson and Shaders plug up the middle, and then the contact comes from Virgil Robertson and Tyrone Chapman, but it was Virgil Robertson who gets the initial contact and gets Souls going the wrong way.
3rd and goal from the 1. Pringle on the toss. Touchdown! Mike Pringle takes it outside, and the Montreal Alouettes lead for the first time. 16-14 with the point after to come. So every time there's a key mistake, be it a turnover or a key penalty, the other team is taking advantage.
And David Mieva to the right of your screen is going to get tripped up just enough by Michael Souls so that he can't get to the outside. Pringle uses his speed for the touchdown.
Now Terry Baker for the point after. Mike Pringle's up over 60 yards already. We've still got 7 minutes to play in the first half. Baker puts the point after up and good. The Montreal Alouettes lead by 3 on a Saturday night at BC Place. Mike Pringle, 3rd in the league in touchdowns, entering week number 7. Now has his 7th of the year to give Montreal the lead.
Great tailbacks will tell you they're only as good as their lead back, their fullback blocking for them. And Mike Pringle gets a key block on that play by Michael Souls to spring him into the end zone.
Now Andrew English, number 80, and Al Shipman, number 1, are back deep to receive the kickoff from Terry Baker. And Baker drills it deep. This is Shipman from the 8, and he dropped the ball. Now gets it back. And Shipman gets belted as he gets out to the 22-yard line. Jumping down to make the stop is Stephon Reed, a 12-yard return. Well, Mike Pringle got the big block. Show us how it happened.
Well, that's exactly what he got. He got a good block right on the corner of your screen right here from his fullback, Michael Souls, on David Mieva. He just gets a shoulder on Mieva. He has to jump over him, and when he does that, Mieva can't get to the outside.
Well, think about the turnovers that have caused teams, as you see Souls just get enough.
And not only that, he makes Tyrone Chapman jump over him so he can't get him with pursuit.
Each team has turned the ball over once, and both times the other team has driven it down and scored. Allen from the shotgun on 1st down. Over the middle he goes, and look out, Larry Thompson, his first catch. He's got lots of room up to the 37-yard line. A 1st down for LT. And a pickup of 14 yards.
Well, he has 216 yards so far this coming into this game, and he's had a couple of complaints. He sees
yes, he has a major complaint.
He sees his buddy Alfred Jackson racking up the yards, and Larry Thompson wants to get his hands on the football a little more, and that's been one of the problems for Adam Rita here in BC, keeping all his talent happy.
1st down, Allen still in the shotgun underneath for Al Shipman, and the pass is dropped. The other beef that Larry Thompson has is with a colleague of ours, a man named Brown in Toronto, as in Les Brown.
Yeah.
Now, Les made a comment that Larry Thompson isn't going deep very much, but Mr. Thompson would like to point out the day in 1992
yes,
when he left footprints on the back of Mr. Brown not once but twice for touchdowns, he points out.
I heard they had to replace scoreboard lights in that game, but he says he's not getting the deep routes, so tell Les to ease up on him a bit.
Now Allen slinging it deep. Thompson wide open, and he can't hang on at the sideline. Might have been out of bounds, and he bowled over Charlie Carpenter. Tough week on coaches. We saw Cal Murphy last night break his wrist at Hamilton, and that time Larry Thompson dumps offensive line coach Charlie Carpenter. Says, "Yeah, I'm fine. Don't worry about it."
And we jinxed him when we talked about him. Then he goes right back and drops a pass.
There is a flag on the play.
Holding, BC, number 64, decline. 3rd down.
Boy, blew him right out of his shoe, huh?
Charlie Carpenter has a flat tire.
Yeah, no kidding. And Les Brown saying, I'll teach him to block me. I'll get him back. He's hitting his own coaches.
Now, Les Brown's probably racking that one up. He's asking the studio, come on, let's see that one again. The drop.
Let me see that.
Yeah.
I hear Les had singe marks on him after that game. They had to dip him in ice water for a while.
I heard it was 3-4 touchdowns. I don't know. He could have been exaggerating a bit.
Yeah, who knows? Well, I'll just have to let it drop.
Yeah.
Passaglia punts it now to Wright at the 40-yard line. Here comes Chris Wright with a head of steam. Both these guys, Shipman and Wright, so dangerous on special teams. Chris Wright gets out across the 50 to the 53-yard line. An 11-yard return. Well, we have a moment down to David Pratt.
First of all, with Johnny Scott, the situation with the ribs is that he's got some bruised ribs. He's hurting, but he's back in the game. As so far as Corey Philpott is concerned, he heard something give and felt it give in his right knee. He is walking up and down the sidelines, hoping to get back in the second half. They'll look at it at halftime, but right now he's on the sidelines. Back to you, Gordo.
All right, thank you, David. Montreal with the ball at its own 52-yard line with a 3-point lead and 5.5 minutes to play in the first half. Here's Mike Pringle reversing his tracks. Joe Fleming gets his arms around Mike Pringle, who crosses midfield and gets down to the BC 53-yard line. Hard to imagine that Mike Pringle was actually cut at one point in his Canadian Football League career, released by the Sacramento Gold Miners in one of their less astute player personnel moves.
And on to Case Stevenson. What was that? Was it Case Stevenson at that time? I think it was.
Well, although he kept Mike Oliphant, it was a pretty good back.
Yeah.
Between Oliphant and Pringle.
Yeah, but come on. And Case Stevenson ran tight end offense, didn't he, at times? No motion?
Yeah, motion is just for window dressing. Ham, lots of time. Has a man wide open, Jock Climby. And Climby still going, gets inside the 30. Greg Frères makes the stop on Jock Climby down to the 29-yard line, a gain of 23 yards.
The key to the success of this play was the front five for the Montreal Alouettes. They did a great job giving Tracy Ham enough time to throw that ball to Jock Climby.
His fourth catch for 60 yards, most of them of the key variety. And Montreal with another first down under 4.5 minutes to play here in the opening half. Well, think about a week ago where Montreal was at this point in the game, down 35-0 to the Toronto Argonauts. Ham on first down, swings it out for Souls. I don't know if Bryant Reeves of the Vancouver Grizzlies could have caught that. That was about 8 feet over his head.
No, I don't think so, because that's about 1.5 inches over Bryant Reeves' hands, and I don't think he has a vertical over 1.5 inches.
Whoa! Wow, that's Glenn Suter making fun of the 7-foot, 300-pound guy. He could tie you in a knot.
Well, I'll just avoid him for a while.
Yeah. Well, Suter, you'll notice, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Suter does make the comment in the first half as the game is blacked out here in Vancouver. So now, if Bryant Reeves has a dish, you're dead.
Yeah, I'm in trouble.
Second down, 10 yards to go. And lots of time. Climby dives. And that is not Jock Climby. That pass was intended for Andy Antoine, number 83. It falls into his hands. And he makes the great grab, his first of the game.
Andy Antoine comes up with a huge catch. He's a rookie for Montreal and for Nigel Williams, and breaks to the outside and comes up with a big catch. You know, over the last 3 games, we talked about Montreal dropping a lot of passes, 27 in total. Tracy Ham's frustration showed early about that, and then he comes up and gets a big catch right there. So things turn around a little bit for Montreal. And Antoine had the gloves on, too, by the way.
Those special gloves on.
Yeah, he had the special gloves.
The good gloves on, the Jim Sandusky special gloves.
Jim Sandusky made those gloves for, and everyone in the league is wearing them.
Yeah, everyone. I hear it.
Yeah.
You're wearing them.
Well, I'm testing them. What I'm trying to do is just see if these things work. There's Jim Sandusky.
There's Tommy Larshide on the right, the radio guy for BC.
Jim Sandusky also would like me to mention that if you want a pair of those gloves, the number is 1-888-777.
No, don't do it. Don't go there.
3213.
Yes, and in the interest of fairness, I will point out. In the interest of fairness, this is sad. This is a man wearing gloves in the booth.
They also work on the telestrator.
I'm okay. See, ladies and gentlemen, the kid from Alberta, bare hands during the game. The guy from BC,
I could throw them. Here, hang on. Check this out. Here, you take this. Throw me. Well,
it doesn't work very well.
It works when you throw it to me, not when I'm holding it.
Catch a lot of passes during games, do you?
Works great for the pen, though.
That's good. Only the West Coast guys would wear gloves during a game in a dome. Ham has time. Pass tipped up in the air. Did Kelly get it? No catch. Maurice Kelly laid out for it. Couldn't make the interception at the 3-yard line, and Montreal will get a second crack at the end zone.
Well, it looked like it may have been Johnny Scott, number 72, who gets his hands on it. Well, check that. It's actually Joe Fleming, who's had a great first half in this game, but Maurice Kelly just can't pull that one off the turf. Well, he doesn't have the gloves on.
That's the problem. Yeah, that must be it. I will point out in the interest of fairness, however, that Al Shippen was wearing the gloves when he fumbled.
Okay.
Second down from the 13. Ham Pulls it down. Gets away from Fleming. Ham has a first down as he dives down to the 2-yard line. Joe Fleming appeared to have him wrapped up, but Tracy Ham gets away, and it'll be 1st and goal for the Montreal Alouettes. When we get back, the 3-minute warning has arrived in Vancouver. Back at the stadium at BC Place, the Montreal Alouettes have a 17-14 lead, and thanks to Tracy Ham, have 1st and goal just inside the 2.
Joe Fleming's having a pretty good night against the offensive line. There he's working on Neil Ford, but what he doesn't count on is the speed of Tracy Ham as he just gets out of his grasp. But you know what's big about this play? Tracy Ham puts his head down to get the extra couple of yards. That's competitive Tracy Ham right there.
Tracy Ham has shown a reluctancy to run in the last couple of years, but that time took off and got a first down. Actually, reluctancy, not a word. Reluctance would be the word. Thank you very much. 7th play of the drive. 1st and goal from the 2. Pringle outside, tripped up, and they say touchdown. He just crossed the line. Virgil Robertson tripped him up, but not before Mike Pringle got into the end zone. Greg Frères appeared to maybe get enough as they tripped him up on the outside, but Pringle, who also blew a tire, just got there.
Well, you see 40 in your screen sliding to the outside. Second effort gets Pringle in the end zone here. Look at him get at the ankle, but that stretch, all you have to do is break the plane. The front part of that white stripe, Mike Pringle got it done.
Mike Pringle with his 2nd touchdown of the game, and Terry Baker puts the point after up and good, and now the Montreal Alouettes, who trailed for much of this first half, have taken a 24-14 lead, and not uncommon to see a guy get hurt when he comes out of his shoe like that.
Well, he was limping a little bit coming to the sideline, looking at his ankle. Greg Frères rolled all over his ankle as he stretched into the end zone. Frères is the free hitter on the play. He really doesn't have any responsibility but to flow to the football. But check out the ankle of Pringle as Frères goes down on it and just jams his foot into the turf. Pulls that shoe right off.
But before he attended to his injury, Mike Pringle wanted to make sure he was in the end zone. And meantime, Mike Pringle's teammate, Paul Randolph, on crutches on the sidelines with that right knee bandage that you were with us earlier, just covering a punt. No one near him, and suddenly his right knee gave way. You can see he's got the big walking bandage on. And now they're making sure Mike Pringle's going to be all right.
Okay, he's all right.
I'm all right, he said.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah, but
And Adam Rena looks on to see his team now down by 10 with 2.5 to play in the first half. Here's Al Shipman now from the 10-yard line. And Shipman takes a big hit from Alan Wetmore. He stopped at the 27-yard line, an 18-yard return, but Al Shipman got decked, and he's slow to get up. The drive goes 7 plays, 58 yards. Mike Pringle caps it off with a 2-yard run, and give credit to Tracy Ham on the 2nd down scramble to get them to that position.
And a big catch by Jock Climby, too, in traffic. Took a hit and kept that drive alive.
That's 2 for you, baby. That's 2 for you.
Tracy Ham and company have really come alive here in the 2nd quarter. All 24 of their points have been scored in the 2nd period. First down, BC. They give it off to Sean Millington, and the fullback lined up quickly by Larry McSeed. A gain of a couple on the play, and McSeed, who gives up some size to Sean Millington, didn't give up on making the tackle and made a pretty good one.
Well, that play wasn't right at the beginning of it because there was something, either Millington went the wrong way or Damon Allen turned the wrong way, but that one didn't have a chance from the beginning. Took too long to develop.
Gain of a couple brings up 2nd and 8. Allen from the shotgun. Under pressure, gets it away to Millington. Long way to go. Good first move, but Tracy Gravely held him up long enough for Harold Nash to come up and finish him off. It'll bring up 3rd down, and BC will be forced to punt.
Sean Millington hasn't been involved a lot in the offense. In fact, Adam Reed doesn't even like to call him a fullback anymore in his type of offense. He prefers to call him a scat back or a receiving back or 2 tailbacks. But when he does catch the ball, he's got a pretty good average right now, and 10 yards a catch so far this season.
Lou Pasaglia to punt. 2 minutes to play in the first half. Chris Wright can give Montreal more. Great field position. Good kick by Pasaglia. Chases Wright back to the 28-yard line. And Wright does a good job just to get to the 35. A 47-yard punt and a return of 7. Busy week in the Canadian Football League coming up in week number 8, and a good one too. The top 2 teams in the league, the Edmonton Eskimos and Toronto Argonauts, meet in a rematch of last year's Grey Cup game, although the conditions will be significantly better at Skydome than they were in Hamilton last November. Doug Flutie and company coming off a big loss in Calgary. The Eskimos coming off a big win in Edmonton against Winnipeg. And 2 former Eskimos hooking up at quarterback in this game. Tracy Ham versus Damon Allen, and both men acquitting themselves well so far. And look at what Montreal has done with the ball here in the second quarter. 3 touchdowns and a field goal. Ham on first down sets up that receiver screen to Chris Armstrong, waiting for a block. He gets it, and Armstrong fights his way out to the 52-yard line. First catch for Chris Armstrong, who has long been a favorite target of Tracy Ham, and he's got a first down.
Great catch by Armstrong, but even a bigger block by Jock Climbing to come out and hit Donnie Wilson, who was trying to come up and make the tackle on Armstrong. In fact, it was Wilson's responsibility, so Armstrong comes up with his first catch of the night. Oh, he's leading the team coming in yardage.
A 17-yard gain for Armstrong. First down, Montreal. Under a minute and a half to play in the first half. Ham gives it off to Pringle. Pringle lots of room into BC territory. He slides down to the 45-yard line for a first down. And a pickup of a dozen.
Well, Joe Fleming was caught between a rock and a hard place. He has containment on Tracy Ham. He's right there. He has containment on Ham. He's got to step upfield. And when he comes upfield, respecting Ham, Pringle cuts underneath him. That's tough.
It's an unusual play. They didn't block the guy to the play side. They just ran right by him.
Well, they know he's got contained on Ham, and he's got to get upfield.
Back to Pringle on first down, and this time he's wrapped up, but not before he rambles again. Down close to another first down as he slides down to the 35-yard line, and Pringle did that with 3 guys all over him, including Tyrone Chapman.
Well, I'd like to count the amount of BC tacklers that were in there that Pringle was dragging. Don Wilson was getting a little frustrated. He was blocked by Jock Climbing, and then the end of that last play got up and gave him a little shot in the ribs.
Oh. Gotta like that. There's been some nastiness in the Canadian Football League this week.
We saw a good fight in Calgary.
Yeah, Marvin Coleman tossing the Jacks.
And Eric Johnson going toe-to-toe.
Yeah, they don't. Is it a first down? Well,
they got to get closer.
Ruler. Let's see. It is.
They got to get close. Got to lie down on the turf to see that
Not by the point of the football, by the stitch on the point on the football.
Montreal take it. A stitch, a point, or a whole ball. They don't care.
Whatever.
First down.
Whatever works for me, it's fine. First down now for the Alouettes. Clock running at a minute in the first half. And Montreal putting together a very effective drive here in the closing stages of the first half. Ham, play action to Pringle. Lots of time. Now Ham's in trouble. Gets away from Tater. Ham, still going. Still going. Jumps over his own man and steps out of bounds as he does it at the 34-yard line. A gain of a couple on the play, but Tracy Ham likely wanted more and burned 20 seconds off the clock.
Tracy Ham wanted Jock Climbing down the seam, but Greg Frere's number 40 right to the bottom right corner sees it and plays it perfectly. Ham wants to go there, but he can't. Then the protection breaks down, and Fleming and the boys chase him down, but great play by Greg Frere's in the secondary to take away that seam pattern by Jock Climbing.
It'll bring up 2nd and 8 now. Montreal within field goal range, though, for Terry Baker already. On 2nd down, draw play, Mike Pringle. And that is stacked up immediately. Tyrone Chapman and Maurice Kelly got there to stuff Mike Pringle. Gets back to the original line of scrimmage, and now the Montreal Alouettes will send the field goal unit on to try to extend the lead to 13 points.
Well, a good job by the front 4 of BC to just stand up their men. Neil Fort and Roosevelt Patterson were just stood up straight. Pringle really had no hole to hit. Front 4 for the Lions had a huge game versus Hamilton last week.
Terry Baker now from 40 yards out. His first attempt hit the upright. Baker puts it up. And between them this time. Makes his second of the game. And now the Montreal Alouettes, with their 27th point of this second quarter, have taken a 13-point lead. Here's David Pratt.
Thanks, Gord. The Alouettes may have the lead, but it did come at a price. They lost Paul Randolph in the first half. Paul, what happened?
Just running down, covering a punt, and went to playing inside and shift back out, and it just popped.
ACL is what I'm hearing?
That's possible ACL.
Are they now saying that maybe the season is over?
More than likely.
Hang in there, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Gordon.
Well, what a blow that is to this Montreal defense. Paul Randolph out of there, and taking his place in the defense has been Stephon Reed. And he's out there now as the BC Lions take the football with 21 seconds left. But Paul Randolph would be a major loss for the Alouettes.
Huge. That's huge. I mean, he's 4th in the league in tackles right now.
Sean Millington with the carry on first down and across the 35-yard line. He'll pick up a couple.
Not only that, I mean, not only his tackling ability and what he brings to this Montreal defense, but his leadership in the middle. He's quiet, but Stephon Reed now has to go and play in the middle, and he's only in his 3rd year. He's having trouble just getting his own responsibilities down, let alone try and get everyone else on that defense square. You know, the middle linebacker goes up there and lines up D linemen. He calls all the shifts and makes checks and also calls plays in the huddle, and Paul Randolph's going to be a huge loss for Montreal.
And Reed taking the signs from the sidelines and talking it over with the defensive coaches for the Montreal Alouettes. The Owls call timeout with 15 seconds left in the opening half. If they can stop BC here on second down quickly, they might get a chance to get the ball back.
Dave Ritchie has to have concern when he just wants to get the plays called squarely. Now, he just wants to make sure there's no mistake before the snap of the football. And when you have the young linebacker in the middle, he's really concerned about his own job. You know that Dave Ritchie's worried about everyone else getting the call.
I think Dave Ritchie was asked by one of his players in the sidelines, or on the field rather, should we call another timeout after this play, and said, well, we only have one. This is the Canadian football league. You only get one per half, so no, don't call another one. 16 seconds on the clock. The clock will not start until the ball is snapped. Play fake to Millington. The ball comes loose, and it's picked up by McSee. Larry McSee comes up with it after Alfred Payton stripped it loose, and the Montreal Alouettes, with 9 seconds left in the half, have the ball back and a chance to extend their lead. And Damon Allen remains down on the turf. And there's a flag down on the play.
And if that's a frustration penalty against the Lions, this will be a chip shot field goal attempt for Terry Baker.
It's against Montreal. The question is, when did it come? Owls are indicating they'll get the ball.
Of course.
Major foul, face mask, Montreal, number 94. First down, Montreal.
Well, Dave Peterson is called for the face mask. The penalty moves the Owls back to the 45-yard line, which would make it a very long Terry Baker field goal try. And that's what Dave Ritchie calls for. 9 seconds to go in the half. Well, a costly turnover by BC, but it might not cost them as much after the penalty to Peterson.
Well, it makes it a longer field, though. Alfred Payton's going to come from this side of your screen and get his hands on Damon Allen right on the football. Watch him as he steps back inside. He strips it. McSee picks it up, but the penalty makes this a long attempt for Baker. They get the ball right there on the 30-yard line. That's a 37-yard field goal attempt.
A 53-yard try. And now the Lions call timeout to ice the Montreal kicker. 9 seconds to go, and this would be a big three. It would give the Montreal Alouettes a 16-point lead.
Adam Reed is throwing in his defense because little change of mind by Dave Ritchie here. He's decided to go try and put Ham in and maybe execute one play and then put the field goal team on.
Terry Baker's longest field goal this year came earlier in this game from 46 yards out. So Ritchie, with 9 seconds left, decides to send the offense out there. Can they get maybe a quick 10 or 15? Ham, quick drop. Fires it out there. Climbing makes the catch and gets down to the 40-yard line. 6 seconds left in the half, and now the field goal unit will come on the field to try a 47-yard attempt. This would still be Terry Baker's longest field goal of the year.
Now, once you get around that 50-yard stripe, though, those goalposts look like a postage stamp. So that doesn't seem like a lot of yards, but Terry Baker is a little closer now, and for his confidence level, has to feel better about this kick.
Marvin Graves is the holder. Baker puts it up and through. A costly turnover by the BC Lions near the end of the first half gives the Montreal Alouettes another 3. They score 30 in the second quarter and go to the locker room with a 30-14 lead after the first half hour. The second half still to come right now. Stand by for CFL Live at the Half.
Welcome back to our CFL Live control studio. Rod Smith along with Bob Obilovich, Les Brown, and Marty York of the Globe and Mail. A half of some turnovers, some big plays, especially favoring the Montreal Alouettes. Now that offense, when the losing streak began in Edmonton, was shut out. And then the next week against the Eskimos, more productive, but still a losing effort than 8 points against the Argos last week, Obi. This offense has really turned it around like they were when the season began.
Yeah, they're playing with a lot more of a purpose tonight. I'm really impressed with two areas on their offense. The offensive line's really getting after that BC front who tore up Hamilton last week, so you can see just how they're moving the ball in offense. And also the slot backs from Montreal match up really well against that BC secondary, especially Donnie Wilson, who's been playing more of a linebacker the last 5 years. And because of injuries, he's playing halfback now, and those guys are giving him a lot of problems, especially Jock Climie.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody on the Montreal Alouettes is more happy right now than Jock Climie. Remember, he was unloaded by Adam Rita not once, but twice with Ottawa and Toronto. And remember that it was Adam Rita who questioned Climie's manhood. Well, I'm telling you something. Tonight, Climie looks nothing but solid so far, and he's even blocking well.
Well, you know, I think maybe BC's front seven got too carried away with being happy about themselves over the job they did against Hamilton, because now they have their work cut out for them.
Well, speaking of defensive players, I mean, it's not a victory yet for Montreal, but looking good so far. It's coming at a cost, though. Paul Randolph injured, and as he said, as he told David Pratt, could be gone for the season. How huge is that loss?
Well, that's a huge loss. You know, I play with Paul in Winnipeg, and because of the big names that we had in Winnipeg, like Paul Randolph, Greg Battle, James West, Tyrone Jones, Paul never got the credit that he deserved. On every team that he's played with, he's been a major force in the middle of that field, and he gets from sideline to sideline very well. That's going to be a major loss for him, but, you know, like Montreal has picked up their game because of the injuries, and they've been playing well this half.
I got to think that they're picking up their game a little bit because of Dave Ritchie as well. Don't forget, Dave Ritchie got fired by the Lions, and you have to believe he's determined to win tonight. And why did he get fired by the Lions? Because he wasn't a very good interview. That was what the owner at the time said.
And you would know that, Marty. You would know that.
Well, he wasn't all that quotable, but that's not a reason for firing a coach, in my opinion. He was still a winner.
I'll tell you what, another guy that's picked up his play considerably since the other 3 games is Tracy Ham. He looks like the guy they need tonight, and he's got to make plays to make that offense work.
Well, if they keep playing like this, they've been playing with all 3 phases of their game being intact, defensively, offensively, and special teams. Against Al Shipman, they've been getting down the field and putting some good surroundings around him.
Well, you talked about the energy, the need for the energy, and certainly the Montreal Alouettes have put that in this first half. A trip to BC Place last year when they were 0-3 revitalized the Alouettes. From that point on, they went on to win 12 of the next 15. Well, that's looking good so far now. After a 3-game losing skid, leading at the half. We'll return after this. Back CFL Live at the half. Well, the Montreal Alouettes faced some early adversity at BC Place, but have rebounded nicely to have a 30-14 lead heading into the third quarter. Let's get a look at the numbers now with Gordon Glenn, guys.
All right, thank you, Rod. And the first half numbers brought to you by Dodge Truck show an old-fashioned Montreal team, the kind that we saw last year, and going back to their predecessors in Baltimore, the kind that we had seen before as well. 16 first half first downs. 111 yards rushing so far in the football game. Not many turnovers. In fact, they're plus in the giveaway, takeaway category. Glenn Suter, this is the Montreal team, I think, that we saw last year and that people thought they'd see this year. Ball control and tough on defense.
It really is. They've controlled the football. They've used Mike Pringle effectively on running and play action passes. Jock Climie's having a good game. The time of possession is the key, too, because Damon Allen really hasn't had much time to get anything going offensively to keep up with this score. And plus, Montreal's got 10 points off BC turnovers, so it's tough. When you're turning the ball over and getting up 10 points, it makes it a little tough to come back.
And that last turnover by Allen really cost them too. Leads to a field goal by the Montreal Alouettes in the final play of the half. The second half still to come, but right now stand by for a TSN Sports Update with Mike Toad. Well, the BC Lions had a pretty good first quarter, then sat back and watched the Montreal Alouettes score 30 in the second. BC opens the second half down by 16 points as they try to chase down the Edmonton Eskimos for first place in the West. The numbers for these former teammates and good friends are pretty impressive when you look at it. Tracy Ham's 10 of 16 with a touchdown. Damon Allen's 11 of 17 with 2 touchdowns. And Damon Allen completed 9 of his first 11 passes in that first half.
Well, Allen may have more passing yards, but Tracy Ham has the luxury of Mike Pringle behind him.
Julio Caravata sends the kickoff down to Mike Pringle at the 15-yard line. Pringle gets around Maurice Kelly. Still looking for room to run. Here he goes through the middle. Mike Pringle still going, and it's the kicker, Julio Caravata, who steer wrestles him down to the ground. The one-leg takedown, a 35-yard kickoff return. And guess what? I think he blew a tire again. Remember, he scored a touchdown the last time that thing came off.
Yeah, but he lost his shoe about 40 yards back.
They better nail that thing on.
Watch him go to the right here. The shoe, where's the shoe come off? Shoe's off right now.
Yeah, it's already gone.
Now he's running with one shoe off and one. He's got the sock and he's still breaking tackles. Look at that. He got tackled by the sock. Couldn't got brought down.
Now, meantime, he
needs a spat.
Yeah, you got to get some tape on over there.
Yeah, you got to tape it up.
They got the Velcro going on that thing. They got the laces going on that thing. He still can't keep it on. Meantime, there's an injured BC Lion. It's Sheldon Benoit who is down on the play. Well, the Montreal Alouettes, who have enjoyed tremendous field position throughout this game, will begin the second half with the ball at their own 50-yard line.
Sheldon Benoit is on the roster now because Stephen Glenn, team's long snapper, was injured last week and is likely gone for the season. So Wayne Drinkwalter's taken over his responsibility, and Benoit comes on the roster in his spot.
And he, too, appears to be having some problems with the knee. It's his left knee they're checking. And if you were with us earlier, Paul Randolph of the Alouettes suffered a knee injury on a kick, and as a result is likely gone for the season. Corey Philpott's had a nagging injury as well, and his knee has been in and out of the lineup in the first half for the BC Lions. And now Sheldon Benoit slowly makes his way off the field, not putting much weight on that left leg. So as Mike Pringle gets set to go to work, his opposite number, a guy looking to put on a show, Corey Philpott, looks to get going as well. And for an update on his condition, here's Dave Pratt.
The situation with Corey Philpott is that they took a look at the knee at halftime. They not only put a brace on it, but they also taped it. So he is literally patched together, but he will give it a shot. And if it goes, he'll be back for the rest of the game. But keep your fingers crossed. It has been, to say the least, a rough one.
Corey Philpott moves side to side like that with the tape on and a knee brace. You really have to check out your mobility, and a guy like Corey Philpott relies so much on his speed. Even though the knee is taped up and got the brace on, it's going to slow him down quite a bit.
First down, Montreal. Tracy Ham on play action. Slings it out there for Chris Armstrong into BC territory, down to the 45-yard line. Greg Frères makes the stop again. And Tracy Ham, effective use of Mike Pringle again, that time on the fake 15-yard toss to Armstrong.
Well, Greg Frères had to come up and try and get in on the tackle. The reason that Armstrong got so wide open is Maurice Kelly got caught up in the line, and Greg Frères had to come across and make a tackle and help out his teammates. Having a good game, though. He's taken away some seam patterns that Tracy Hams wanted to go to in the first half.
The second-round pick of the Calgary Stampeders in 1993. Ham, quick drop, slings it out there for Armstrong, and he's got someone all over him. And that someone is four-time All-Star Don Wilson, who limits that to no gain.
Well, Don Wilson, like the panel alluded to, halftime is usually a linebacker, but because he's played so well at halfback, he's got 2 interceptions on the season. Adam Rita leaves him in at halfback, and Jock Climby had a good block on the very same play in the first half that sprung Armstrong, but not this time. The great veterans, you can get them once, but not very likely you get them twice.
Second down, Ham slinging it up up the sidelines, has a man, Armstrong, who bumps with Damian Lyons. And it looked like actually Armstrong initiated the contact there, trying to draw the pass interference penalty. And Tracy Ham pleading his case, but Damian Lyons was with him step for step.
Yeah, no shot. And I think Tracy Ham may have been a little confused at the coverage here, because Damian Lyons is right up here and in cover 3 zone. 1, 2, 3 guys deep. He tries to throw it up deep anyways, and Damian Lyons was in perfect position. No way he interferes. He has a chance and at the opportunity to go for that football as well.
How about this for ball control? Terry Baker punting for only the 2nd time in the game. Trying to angle it for the sidelines. Does a pretty good job. Now, where will they mark it?
As it went
in the end zone. That's a single point for the Montreal Alouettes, and Baker pleading his case, saying it went out at the 1. It'll go as a 46-yard single. Tack on another for the Montreal Alouettes, who now have a 31-14 lead just underway in the 3rd quarter. 2 years ago, he set the Canadian Football League record for most touchdowns in a year with 22, and earlier in this game, he saw his season flash before his eyes.
Here's a play, innocent play, just like Paul Randolph. He didn't get hit on the play at all, it just stopped.
Corey Philpott just went down and rolled out of bounds, but he is back in the BC offense to start this 2nd half. That's twice we've seen that in this game. Paul Randolph earlier was injured in a non-contact injury as well.
He's got that knee, like David Pratt reported, taped up. He's got a brace on it.
A hole in his pants, too. Got a hole going in his pants. He's got a brace on. He's got tape on. He's been held together with paper clips and glue right now.
He needs a seamstress.
Or a seamster. First down from the 39-yard line. Allen for Alfred Jackson, working one-on-one with Irv Smith. Jackson dives up close to the 45-yard line for a gain of 9. That has really come back. We've talked about it before, but in the 80s, that play was all the rage when Terry Greer was in Toronto. Then it kind of went out of style for a while. Now they've really brought it back, and I guess it's part of spreading defenses out.
Well, and it's also the fact that defensive backs for a while were starting to come up and challenge receivers. A lot of bump and run, a lot of blitzing defenses in the league, and then when they're up and bump and run, it takes that play away. You can't throw it. Guys right up in your face. But now, starting to back off, play some more zone again. Things go in cycles, and you give him a little more room, he can catch that hitch pass.
Now 2nd down and a long yard for BC. Sean Millington takes it straight ahead, and it'll be close. The Montreal Alouettes indicating that they were able to stop that play. We'll wait for the officials to make it official. Rashawn Giddings saying that he personally stopped the BC fullback, but he was wrong.
No measurement needed. Needed the 45-yard line, got it.
Now, see, that's a situation where if a player makes a bad call, the official should be able to jump in his face. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? I guess it doesn't work the other.
You can do that every play then, because the player will call it for his team every single time.
They'll argue with the official, but players make the worst calls on the field.
Yeah.
Damon Allen gives it off to Corey Philpott, and Philpott gets smacked by Tom Hips. That play was stuffed from the get-go, and a gain of a couple. Well, Corey Philpott, as we mentioned in 1995, made a major impression. Now you can see Philpott taking himself out of the football game, but look at the rushing yards he's put up over his last 3 seasons. And this year, he is not on pace for what he did in his first year. A gain of 18 yards rushing tonight, but Corey Philpott is not having the kind of production that he's had in past years. And there's flags down as there was early movement. Looked like Mo Elouanibi moved at left tackle.
Well, Gord, part of the reason, I mean, Corey Philpott used to run the ball a lot per game. I mean, this year he's only running the ball about 5 times a game. It's tough for any running back to get anything done. You just get the ball 5 times out of the backfield.
Legal procedure, BC, number 64, still 2nd down.
Big Mo couldn't stop his momentum, and procedure is the call. Mo Elouanibi looks like he's offside on every play. He looks like he moves early on every play.
Well, he gets his big left foot back there, and he tries to get a little bit of advantage on a guy like Alfred Payton coming off the edge by just getting a yard depth by his left foot to the outside. So looks like he's back. You see that left foot way back there. That's trying to get a quick drop. Pass blocking.
2nd and 13. Allen under pressure. Gets it away to Shipman, but the pass one hops to him. It'll bring up 3rd down as Damon Allen took a hellacious shot from Alfred Payton.
Well, Alfred Payton comes from the backside. He's working on Todd Furtick, and he just uses a speed rush to hit Allen right in the back of the head. Mo Eloanibi, the guy we were talking about, really didn't have to block because Larry McSee didn't come, but Payton certainly did.
And of course, if you've ever been hit in the back of the head by a 230-pound guy running at full speed, you know how much that hurts.
Yeah, ouch.
So Corey Philpott's nicked, David Allen is ticked, and Lou Pasaglia will kick.
Did you write that down?
No, thank goodness. Chris Wright from the 25-yard line, and Wright sidesteps his way out to the 34. A flag down on the play, a 43-yard punt, and a return of 9.
I talked to Julio Caravetta before the game about his punting strategy and what the team decided to do from the Lions' perspective. He said, we're not going to punt it away from Chris Wright. I kind of gave him the double tape.
Say what?
Wait a minute. Do you have any tape from 1995? I mean, he was hurt all last year, hurt his knee in the very first practice. But go back to 95 when he led the league, and I thought, he said, no, he's really not doing a whole lot this year, so we're going to kick it to him.
Now, Ken Lazaruk and Lou Pasaglia are talking this over. Pasaglia, the special teams captain, and there are about 30 players on the field right now. So they got to get some guys off. They got to get some guys on. They got to figure where the ball is going to be. They got a lot of stuff to figure out here. A lot of things to do right now.
Well, they're walking towards the Montreal side of the field.
Wow. Here's the call.
Offside. Montreal, number 50, decline. Hold. Montreal, number 95, accept it. First down.
The end result of all that is that the Montreal Alouettes will start this drive at their own 15-yard line with 10.5 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter as Dave Ritchie has a rather animated discussion with his punt return team.
Or the officials.
or
both.
Or whomever.
Yeah.
Well, the Owls really have been like the little girl with the curl this year. When they've been good, they've been great. But when they've been bad, look out. First 3 games, they go 3-0. Then they go 0-3, and they get outscored 112-32 in the process, including putting up the bagel in Edmonton.
And I really believe that that was a lot to do with the health of their quarterback. When Tracy Ham's not on and can't keep those drives alive, puts more pressure on the defense, and those points against definitely demonstrate that.
Well, the Alouettes may be getting back on the beam here, and Montreal, as we mentioned earlier, still has a chance to make a run for first place in the East Division. Montreal can go to 4-3 with a win here tonight, and Toronto dropped to 5-2 with a loss against Calgary.
With Toronto playing Edmonton next week.
By the way, we'd like to welcome viewers in Vancouver. The blackout has been lifted for the second half of the game, so we welcome those of you tuning in. The bad news is it's 31-14 for the visiting team. On first down, this is Mike Pringle. Pringle tripped up at first and slides through for a gain of a couple before Johnny Scott finally tripped him up. Mike Pringle's had quite a football game so far, scored a couple of touchdowns. Montreal scored 30 points in the second quarter of this football game. I'm Gord Miller along with Glenn Suter. Pringle has 96 yards rushing so far, adding to his league-leading total in the final game of week number 7. Pickup was 3 there. It's now 2nd and 7 with flags fly before the play gets underway. Procedure will be the call against Montreal.
Legal procedure, Montreal, number 69, still 2nd down.
Ryan Coughlin, who's replacing somebody in there. Let's take a look. Neil Fork's in there. Roosevelt Patterson's in there.
No, he's not. Big Rosie's on the sidelines.
That's the guy. 65 is out.
Big Roosevelt Patterson is on the sidelines being spelled off here. Doesn't appear to be hurt. He's just watching.
No, he was having some trouble with Joe Fleming early.
And now play is called again. And they're going to reset the 20-second clock. Tracy Ham pointing out the 20-second clock was not reset.
He may want an audible at the line, so he needs all the time he can get.
2nd down for the Owls. 11 yards to go. Ham under pressure. Can't get away this time. Jumping right into his face, Dave Taters and Joe Fleming. And Tracy Ham, who can run as well as any quarterback in the history of this league. Couldn't find anywhere to run that time.
Well, it doesn't really matter who Joe Fleming is lined up against. This Montreal offensive line, number 76, has not been handled all game, and he gets in there clean on a little bit of a stunt. Chaders helps him out, but Joe Fleming is having one heck of a ball game tonight.
Well, now the BC Lions, who have really had the disadvantage in field position in this game, have a chance for excellent field position. Terry Baker will punt from the end zone. Andrew English and Al Shipman are back deep to receive. Baker with a good kick. Bounces back towards the Owls. Now Andrew English picks it up. No yards will be the call. And English has dropped at the 44-yard line. A 39-yard punt, no return. Tack on the penalty, and the BC Lions will have great field position when we come back to Vancouver. Number 7 of the CFL season wrapping up tonight at the stadium at BC Place, where the Lions are trailing by 17 points. But after the no yards penalty, the net of that punt by Terry Baker just 24 yards. The Lions start at the Montreal 29. Allen takes off, lots of room, but great play to trip him up. Turned in by Stephon Reed, the man who's in place of the injured Paul Randolph, trips him up.
Yeah, but Gord, I can't understand why Damon Allen doesn't roll out a little bit more. Stephon Reed comes up and make a pretty big play on the quarterback, but Damon Allen needs to get outside the pocket a little bit. Right now, he's been passing from the pocket, and anytime he's run up the middle. Get him outside in space with a one-on-one on a defensive lineman, and he wins that battle every time.
Gain of a couple brings up 2nd and 8. Allen back to the shotgun. Corey Philpott has not returned. Allen has time, hits Larry Thompson, who in turn gets hit by Irv Smith, and that'll stop him short of a BC first down. The Lions will be forced to try a field goal after a gain of 4.
Well, Larry Thompson will likely go have a word with his quarterback, because when this ball gets up in the air and he has to go way up and get it, he really doesn't have time to turn around and get ready for this hit, and Irv Smith puts the head right between the 8 and the 8.
Adam Rita made the comment earlier, what's with guys who wear 88? You always want the ball all the time. Paul Mazzotti was like that in Toronto. He says everywhere you go with a number 88, the guy always wants the ball all the time.
They're always pretty good, too.
Haven't many bad guys to wear that number. Lou Pasaglia will try the field goal from 30 yards out, having a great year, 12 of 14. Pasaglia puts it up, and good. And the BC Lions with their first points since the first quarter. And have now cut this Montreal lead to 14 points in a pretty good game on this Saturday night at BC Place. We mentioned earlier, 2 teams that have really slugged it out this year, especially the BC Lions in the tough Western Division. And they're playing pretty well tonight. Well, speaking of teams playing pretty well, how about our matchup on Thursday night? The Edmonton Eskimos visit Doug Flutie and the Toronto Argonauts. The Argos are 5-2. The Edmonton Eskimos are 6-1.
Oh.
It's the Grey Cup rematch.
Man, sparks will fly. Toronto coming off the loss. You know they're fired up. And Edmonton, you can't say enough about what they've done this year, 6-1.
Busy week coming up this week. Week number 8, we got Edmonton, Toronto Thursday night, then Taylor Field and Regina for what should be another good one. BC at Saskatchewan on Friday Night Football. And then on Saturday, the Hamilton Ticats are at the Olympic Stadium to take on the Alouettes.
Now, did I do my math right? BC at Saskatchewan will be for 2nd place no matter what happens.
No matter what happens here, that's for 2nd place, yes. Nearest I can figure.
Should be a good one.
Unless there's a tie here today.
Oh, okay.
And then forget about it.
Yeah.
Julio Caravana kicks it off. This is Chris Wright from the 20-yard line. Chris Wright with a big hole. A flag comes down as Wright gets down to the 50-yard line, but another good return by Chris Wright may be negated by a penalty. And it is an illegal block against Montreal.
Well, they have the ball right now around the 45-yard line, so let's see where it ends up.
Legal block, Montreal, number 43, first out.
Penalty call against Kirk Smith will move the Alouettes back to their own 36-yard line. The penalty came late in the return, so Wright will get most of it. Well, I don't know what Tracy Ham just called in the huddle, but it's number 42, whatever it is. I just saw him say number 42.
It's likely a running play to Pringle, the 2-hole.
Okay.
It should be to probably the right.
Okay. See if I'm any good at reading lips.
Going to the right, or...
Oh, throwing it off a guy's helmet. That's the old winging off the guy's tail play. You don't see that very often.
Okay, so 42 is not a running play.
I'd put number 42 in the round file if I was Montreal. Doesn't work.
Well, I think this is a case of Tracy Ham wanted to pull that ball back down.
Oh, poor Neil Forty hit him right in the head. His own guy right in the head. That's a pretty big head-to-head though.
He wanted to hold that one, bring it back, try and reload, but it got out of his hands.
Neil's like, hey, you know what? I have a hard enough time getting hit from the front. Don't hit me in the back. Second down, Ham. Look out, down he goes. Virgil Robertson and Johnny Scott converge on the Montreal quarterback. A second sack for the BC Lions.
Well, this front four for BC is really giving some trouble to Montreal Alouettes because Virgil Robertson is working on Zumo KK on the outside, and Zumo KK really has no shot. He's holding, he's grabbing, and even though he's trying to tackle Virgil Robertson, Robertson pulls him down. And while I'm on the topic, Virgil Robertson wanted me to give a message to Les Brown.
Oh, no. Here we go.
Another message to Les Brown.
Wait a minute. Terry Baker with the kick. Al Shipman races up, dropped the football. Andrew English, fortunately, was there to pick up the leftovers and gets buried for his trouble at the 43-yard line. So almost disaster for the BC Lions on the punt return. Now, what is Virgil Robertson's message to Les Brown?
Well,
first of all, the replay.
Shipman is getting a little lackadaisical as he comes up there. He gets hit right in the back for dropping the football, but Johnny on the spot, Andrew English, who saves it. Almost a touchdown.
Okay, well, the message is?
To Virgil Robertson. He wants to tell Les Brown, remember his old teammates. He hasn't said once, apparently, that BC Lions have a good defense. So there's the message.
That was it?
They were old teammates, so he wanted to remind him of that.
Look out, Damon Allen goes down, and a flag comes down at the end of that play as sweeping in was Swift Birch. They get a piece of the face mask. The penalty came down way at the end of the play, but no, it appears to be against the BC Lions.
Well, I think it's holding against the Lions.
Well, they didn't do a very good job.
Holding. BC number 64 declined. Second out.
Mo Eloanibi is called for holding.
Well, just like we saw KK holding Virgil Robertson and Robertson getting the sack anyway. That time Eloanibi was holding and Swift Birch got the sack anyway.
And the loss on the play was 8 yards. Brings up 2nd and 18 BC. 6 minutes to play in the third quarter. Now Allen rolls out. Lots of pressure. And Alfred Payton gets him. Alfred Payton stayed with Damon Allen step for step and put a spell on you.
Well, what's amazing for the Montreal Alouettes is that they're really only sending 4 guys. Alfred Payton will come from the right of your screen, but no stunts from Montreal, no real blitz packages. Payton just fights off the cut block, jumps over and gets to Damon Allen, but just 4-man pressure. McSeed coming off the corner with Birch and chasing Damon Allen to the outside, and then Alfred Payton cleaning him up.
Last 3 plays for the BC Lions. They fumbled the punt and got it back. All right. Lost 8 on a sack, lost 10 on a sack. Trying to go back to the drawing board. Here's Chris Wright from the 38-yard line. Wright trying to come back the other way. Gets out to the Montreal 50 before Tyrone Chapman brings him down. An 11-yard return of a 42-yard punt. 5.5 minutes to go here in the third quarter. The Montreal Alouettes with a 14-point lead on the BC Lions with Tracy Ham at the controls and an apparently healthy Tracy Ham.
Well, I played offensive coordinator when the Lions had the ball last and thought that Damon Allen should roll out more. I'm going to do it again with Montreal now. Tracy Ham struggled a little bit in the second half. Needs to go back to the running game with Pringle on first down and get himself in second and short situations. He had a lot of success with that in the first half.
First down Montreal, and Ham in the shotgun. Fake to Mike Pringle, swing it out to Michael Souls. David Mava on him, but Souls gets across midfield and down to the 54-yard line of BC. Here's Paul Randolph on the Montreal bench. Now in street clothes after injuring his right knee in the first half, and apparently it's the anterior cruciate ligament that is torn, and he will miss the balance of the season is the initial prognosis. Stephon Reed taking his place in the Montreal defense and taking a breather as the offense goes to
It's a little hotter when you're playing every down.
Tracy Ham's in trouble, and Dave Chater's got just enough of him to get the sack, and an angry Neil Fort picked up the ball and threw it about 40 yards downfield.
It was a completion to an official, but Neil Fort very nearly got himself a delay of game penalty for doing something like that.
You know, if the official hadn't caught it, he probably would have.
He might have. I mean, great surge. This time the BC Lions do it with blitz. Maurice Kelly, Tyrone Chapman, and David Mieva were all coming, and zero coverage behind it. Chambers gets the sack, but Neil Fort probably should have got a delay of game penalty for throwing that football.
Zero coverage meaning?
Man-to-man, no help.
No help. You're on your own. Al Shipman takes the punt from the 13-yard line. Shipman trying to make something happen, gets out across the 25 before he's buried by a mountain of Alouettes. And that pile was led by Alan Wetmore, a 47-yard punt and a return of 12. If you were with us earlier, you saw the Canada games get underway. Coverage continues tomorrow at 5 Eastern and at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. All the coverage of the 1997 Canada Summer Games from Brandon, Manitoba, right here on TSN. Football, not yet a Canada game sport. Let's get him to work on that.
Yeah, let's talk to some. Who do we talk to about that?
John Wells is there. We're going to ask him.
Well, let's ask John. Well,
John a message. First down now for the Lions from their own 25. High snap to Damon Allen. Sets it up for Sean Millington. But jumping all over that was Larry McSeed, who almost intercepted the pass to go with the 2 fumble recoveries he's got in this game, and he's injured his right wrist.
Well, that's trouble for Montreal. Randolph already on the sideline. Larry McSeed had come in and play little linebacker and rush end. Rashawn Giddings has had to come in.
Well, now the Alouettes really putting out the APB. Gene Gaines on the sidelines talking to Dave Ritchie. Now they've got to make some real tough personnel decisions here.
Guess who comes in now?
NC Charles.
NC Charles will come in, and he's a defensive back.
So there's Randolph. He's not coming in anytime soon. And NC Charles comes in. He's a backup defensive back. So will they play a nickel defense? What will they do?
Well, they'll try and play a nickel, and Ray Bernard, remember, is also in this lineup, but he is also being attended to on the sideline for the Montreal Alouettes. So McSeed's holding his wrist. There's tape. They're running out of tape in Montreal. There's Ray Bernard getting taped up.
Wow. Where are you, Wally Bono? Montreal needs a linebacker. Timeout Montreal, and that may be born of the confusion with not enough guys in the field or not the right guys, and that guy not too pleased about it. And that might be too many guys on the field. How many they get out there, Glenn?
13.
Whoops, can't do that.
Well, like Ray Bernard's good, and so is Larry McSeed, so Dave Ritchie thought he'd try and replace him with 2 guys.
Steve Charbonneau gets the angry look from Dave Ritchie on the way by. So now with 12 men on the field. Now look at Ritchie counting. We got what's going on out there? They didn't change the rules, and they were not allowed 13 yet, are we? Allen on second down. Up and firing to Larry Thompson. Can't make the catch. Right at the first down marker, and the Lions will once again be forced to punt. That pass just out of his reach.
Well, Larry Thompson would have had to make a great catch on the sideline. He laid out to try and get it, but Damon Allen still standing in the pocket and throwing it to the outside. I mean, here's a Montreal defense who is weak at line. Well, not weak. No offense to Stephon Reed, but they've made a lot of changes in the middle of their defense because of injuries to linebackers. They're not attacking that with the running game. Then they have Damon Allen sit in the pocket and not attacking the corners.
Where this really hurts Montreal's on special teams, because linebackers almost always play on special teams. That punt almost blocked by Torrey Hunter. Bisaglia gets it away to right at the 40. And hanging on for dear life was Sammy Brennan, a 41-yard punt. Brennan stopped Chris Wright after a return of 5 yards. Well, we talked about it before. Tracy Ham and Damon Allen are 2 of the best running quarterbacks in CFL history. They're also 2 of the best passing quarterbacks in history. Look at the all-time touchdown passes. Tracy Ham has a touchdown pass tonight. Damon Allen has 2. Now the question would be the Hall of Fame game. I got to think that Tracy Ham and Damon Allen are both Hall of Fame quarterbacks.
Oh, my goodness. All that list. Tracy Ham and Damon Allen, think of their rushing. You add that to their passing we just saw. Wow.
On first down, they give it off to Mike Pringle. What's interesting about that Hall of Fame game, Tom Wilkinson's already in the Hall of Fame, the former Edmonton Eskimo.
Right.
You got to think when Warren Moon retires from the NFL, he's got a good chance to get into the CFL Hall of Fame. If Matt Dunnigan's not a Hall of Famer, there'll be an investigation. That's 3. Then if you put Ham and Allen in the Hall of Fame, that's 5 quarterbacks who played for Edmonton in the 80s in the Hall of Fame.
Now, let's not forget a guy that's playing in Toronto right now. I know he hasn't played many years.
No, I'm just saying all the Edmonton guys will be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Now Ham on second down, swings it out for Pringle. Pringle needs midfield for the first down. Mava gets a tackle on him, but was it in time? Pringle very close to the first down marker. But what a bevy of quarterbacking the Edmonton Eskimos enjoyed in the 1980s. And, you know, with all the talk of Matt Dunnigan and others and Doug Flutie, it's easy to forget the kind of numbers that Tracy Ham and Damon Allen have put up.
Yeah, and you know what's amazing? At one time there in Edmonton, all 3 were on the roster together.
Ham, Allen, and Dunnigan played together. It's 3rd and a yard for Montreal, right at midfield. Ham, straight ahead, should have it. Needs to cross midfield, and it would appear that he did.
Well, the questions about Tracy Ham's health should be answered, at least for the 3/4 of this football game. He's run the ball hard up the middle. He's got the scars on the top of his helmet to prove it. And he's also thrown the ball and protected it. No interceptions.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's limping now. And you can see Tracy Ham grimacing a little bit after that dive ahead. You'll see how Ham is doing. On first down, fake to Pringle. Look out, Ham is down. Maurice Kelly got there to finish him off after David Mava was in as fast as Ham could get back, and Tracy Ham does appear to be laboring somewhat for the Alouettes.
Well, he's taken some big hits. Joe Fleming is camped out in the backfield of the Montreal Alouettes this game, and this time it's been David Maeva off the corner. He's going to come from the top of your screen untouched. 31's got great speed, and Ham doesn't even have time to turn around and throw that football. See, Ham takes one pump, and when he turns around, hello, David Maeva.
A 9-yard loss. 4th sack of the game for the BC Lions. Ham now swings it out for Pringle. Needs a block, gets one. Here comes Pringle. And Pringle gets back to the original line of scrimmage as he crosses midfield. Neil Fort demolished Don Wilson with a block.
He was very slow getting up. Neil Ford at about 400, did you say, Gordon?
No, that was you who said that.
Well, the program says about 320. You called him 400, so I'm going with that. But Don Wilson only weighs about 190 pounds, and Neil Ford just lied on him.
They're going to have to start calling him Neil Castle if he gets any bigger. Fort doesn't really seem applicable at that size, does it? You think of a little tiny thing when you think of a Fort. High snap to Baker. He's going to take off. Got a long way to go, but you know what? He's going to get there. Terry Baker, no one even near him, and now a flag comes down as Baker steps out of bounds at the 34-yard line. It wasn't a design fake, and maybe that's why it worked so well.
Well, Brad Yamoka came off the corner. His responsibility was to make sure that Terry Baker punts the ball, but when that snap went high, he took off thinking that Baker wouldn't get to it. Then he got caught, because when he went to redirect, he slipped and fell down, and Baker got the corner.
Now, will it matter? The flag came down late, maybe after Baker got the first down. But it appears Montreal will maintain possession. And Ken Lazarek, indicated that was the end of the quarter, but the quarter cannot end on a penalty.
Holding Montreal, number 83 after the first down. First down, Montreal.
Okay, Andy Antoine is called for holding, so as we said, it comes at the end of the play after Baker had achieved the first down.
Well, here's how the play initially happens. I mean, Brad Yamoka is supposed to have contain and make sure that Terry Baker punts the football. He's going to come from the top of your screen. And see, he goes to redirect and slips and falls down. Baker's got the corner, and everyone else is trying to block downfield so they don't see him. Penalty comes after Baker has crossed the first down marker.
Now, confusion reigning here in BC. Here's the problem. The quarter can't end on a penalty. But Lazarick indicated that the quarter would end. Now there's tires down on the field for a contest they're going to have in the third quarter. So, I got to get the tires off the field. No, they're running the contest.
They're doing the contest.
These guys are doing the
play
contest.
to go.
As an exasperated Ken Lazarick looks on, they're running the contest.
I got to tell you something. It's Ken Lazarick's own fault. They shot the gun.
He waved the orange flag.
He waved it. They shot the gun to end the quarter. So, I know the panel is going to have something to say about the officiating now.
And these guys can't wait to get out. Now you got to wait for the tires to get off. The first time you've ever had to wait for tires to get off the field, right?
It's first down right here. 1st and 10 going that way.
I think this is
Dave
the most
Ritchie with the spot.
officiating Coach Ritchie's ever done in a game.
All right, first down for the BC 51. Pringle gets outside and is forced out of bounds at about the 45-yard line. Get the tires back on the field. Get the players off the field. Bring in the panel.
Reload the pistol.
31-17 is the score with the fourth quarter still to come. Stand by now. We'll send you back to the fearsome foursome at CFL Live Control.
Yes, that's a first for us to see the tire drill interrupted there as we head to the fourth quarter. But welcome back to CFL Live in the studio with Obi, Les, and Marty. I'm Rod Smith. Well, the good news for BC, they outscored Montreal in that quarter. But the bad news is it was just 3-1. So defense rules, and this gives Les Brown a chance to address what Glenn Suter said. Well, Virgil wants you to say something good about that BCD. I think.
Well, I want to say this. When I was in BC, Virgil I had an outstanding defense. No, their defense has stepped it up big time. They've come on and played well. They must have got yelled at halftime, or coach gave them the kiss of death, the offensive line from Montreal,
I think so.
one of the two. But this defense has come on. They've been running a lot of blitzes and a lot of stunts, and they've been confusing the offensive line of Montreal.
But Les, the Lions' offense has to be the biggest mystery in the CFL. You look at that personnel, and there isn't a slouch supposedly on that offense, and yet they can't get anything going. 1-2 and punt. They came into the game tonight 5th in the CFL in total offense. They're going to end up this week 7th.
Well, we talked about offense, we talked about defense, got to talk about special teams, of course.
Let's go to coach.
And Montreal
right.
has done well in special teams tonight.
I think, you know, we saw Edmonton just almost destroy Montreal in Montreal with the play on special teams that night. And I know their special teams coach, Scott Spurgeon, you know, was really disappointed in the play, and they've picked it up tonight. Wright's running the way we expect on punt returns. He looks like when he was playing in his rookie year, and I expect he might break one yet tonight because he's running with a lot of acceleration compared to what he had been doing. And they're doing a great job on coverage, and they're just hustling a lot more tonight on special teams, and it's showing in this game.
But it is still BC trailing by a lot heading to the fourth quarter. Let's see, they got the tires on the field, they got the tires off the field. I think they got them on again and off again. Now let's get back to Gordon Glenn. Guys, you figure it out.
Yeah, the good news is Glenn Suter took 4 of them. I'm going to put them on the old truck on the way home, I think. Well, in the fourth quarter now, the Alouettes have the ball at the 47-yard line of the BC Lions on 2nd down. And with a 14-point lead, the Owls would dearly love to add to it. 2nd down and 6. Pringle, the lone back in the backfield. Ham steps up, gets past Frères, and here goes Tracy Ham. Lots of room to run. Ham gets outside and down to the 5-yard line. David Neva makes the stop with Damon Lyons. A 41-yard gain, and they might have gotten away with a face mask at the end of it.
A design play by Tracy Ham, and this is what we talked about earlier, that he's running the ball hard up the middle. Watch the move on Greg Frères. Oh, wow. Greg Frères tried to cut off the pursuit angle and got way too high on the play. Ham comes back, and I think there was a little face masking at the end of that play.
And if Tracy Ham was limping before, he doesn't look so bad now. And we've got a chance to look at the numbers through 3 quarters of play, and 19 first downs now for the Alouettes. 135 rushing yards to BC's 29.
Yeah, and a lot more added right there from the Ham run.
9th play of the drive. 1st and goal from the 6. Pringle looking for touchdown number 3. Gets stacked up at about the 2-yard line. Tyrone Chapman and Joe Fleming got there. A pickup of 4 yards. Just good old-fashioned smash-mouth football. And Tracy Ham made the comment that in the Dome Stadium in Montreal, and the Dome Stadium in BC, and the Dome Stadium in Toronto, it may not seem that fancy, but he says in the outdoor stadium on the grass in the Grey Cup, he thinks Montreal's attack would be very effective in November.
Oh, yeah. When it gets cold and it's a little tougher to throw the ball and wind and snow in your face, turn around and hand it to 27 makes it a little easier.
2nd and goal. Pringle puts his head down. Touchdown. Mike Pringle with his 3rd touchdown of the game. And the Alouettes now, with some pushing and shoving breaking out, have the touchdown. Pringle over 100 yards rushing, has 3 major scores in the game.
Well, you have to give credit where credit's due. I mean, Mike Pringle has been going head-to-head with Tyrone Chapman all game. Tyrone Chapman's won a couple. He's number 56, but he didn't win this one. This is just man-on-man, mano-a-mano, and Pringle puts his head down and pushes Tyrone Chapman 2 yards into the end zone.
Mike Pringle with his 9th touchdown of the season. Terry Baker now for the point after. Baker puts it up and through, and 27 on the ground has been the story of this football game as the Alouettes now open it up to a 20-point lead. Adam Reedus saw Montreal's Hunter on a broken play take off for 11 yards and then saw the Alouettes just jam it down his throat. Tracy Ham took off on a long scramble. The Alouette drive covered 10 plays, 55 yards, took 5 minutes off the clock, and was capped off by Mike Pringle with his 3rd touchdown of the game. And Tracy Ham, don't forget, has done the job along the ground as well. Now Al Shipman on the kickoff return from the 10. Flags come down, and Shipman goes down to the 30-yard line. It has been a flag-filled affair, a 65-yard kickoff, a 20-yard return, pending this, which is almost certainly an illegal block. And it is.
You know, really the way the league's going, you could actually have 40 seconds in every huddle by the time they sort out every
Legal block, DC, 86, first down.
Here's Dave Pratt.
Well, you know what they say, Gordo, if you've got enough tape, you can fix just about anything. And that's pretty much the situation with Larry McSeed. He has a hyperextended right elbow. They put a brace on it and lots of tape, and guess what? He's back in there.
Looking kind of Glenn Suterish there, Dave, with the pads and the tape and the stuff and the gizmos and the paint and the big mask and the...
Hey, I needed some tape to keep me together, okay, I admit it.
First down for the Lions. Allen from the shotgun. Swings it out for Sean Millington. And McSeed with that bad elbow saw Millington go by him, and Millington gets up to the 25, and he's got a pickup of 9 yards.
Well, the way Sean Millington cut, Larry McSeed would have had to extend that right arm to try and stop him, and he just pulled it down. There was no way he was going to put it out there and have it ripped right off, because Millington cuts back. Now, that's right arm. Look at this. He has to cut back inside. That right hand, there's no way he's going to do that.
Now McSeed remains in as Ray Bernard comes in now at inside linebacker for the Alouettes as well on short yardage at 2nd and a yard. Corey Philpott has not returned. Damon Allen dives ahead. Needs the 26-yard line for a first down, and I don't know if he got it. He'll be close, but they may have to gamble on 3rd down. Well, Ray Bernard acquired by the Montreal Alouettes a couple weeks ago in a trade for John Kalin, and what a timely deal that turned out to be for both teams. The Stampeders needed Kalin badly, and now the Owls need Ray Bernard.
Ray Bernard had some injury problems, got his wrist taped as well. He's in there. Thought that he would only play on special teams tonight, but because of those injuries, he's in the lineup on defense.
Damon Allen does have the first down, only the 2nd first down for the Lions in the second half. 11:44 to play in the 4th quarter. Damon Allen and company need to get something going against a tough Montreal defense.
Well, I'm going to go make one more point about it, and then I'll drop it. But Damon Allen's big play in the football game was when he was outside scrambling and found Alfred Jackson for a touchdown pass. He hasn't been outside the pocket since then. There, said it, and I'm glad.
Point taken. First down for the 26. Allen from the shotgun drops straight back, and the pass is in behind Al Shipman. And once again, Damon Allen rather took a shot at the end of that play, and is slow to get up off the turf.
Well, you know, if I'm Doug Peterson, Swift, Birch, or even Alfred Payton up front there, I got to be so relieved that Allen hasn't been running around to the outside. When the guy stays in there, Peterson the one who gets the hit on him up the middle. But when he's standing in the pocket, I mean, for goodness sake, you got to, there he is right there coming in. And gives a shot right on Damon Allen, working on Corey Mantica.
Second down. Allen now forced to scramble. Waiting for a block from Millington. Allen gets outside and gets a first down.
Okay.
Up to the 40-yard line. You said you weren't going to bring it up again.
Okay, but thank you. I'm going to anyways. You know what? Here you go. There's his vintage Damon Allen. Now, it does two things. He gets to the outside, gets the first down, and he made it look easy. Now, the defensive ends for the Montreal Alouettes have to be concerned more with contain. It opens everything up for him. You see, he gets to the outside. He's one of the smoothest running quarterbacks you'll ever see. Makes it look easy getting the first down. Now the defense has to be worried about him running again.
A 14-yard gain. You done?
Yeah, okay.
That's it?
That's it.
Promise?
I promise this time.
All right, $5 fine if you bring it up again. First down from the 40. Allen. Over for Sean Millington, and Millington eludes the tackle of McSeed again and dives out to about the 54-yard line. Now the question for McSeed is this. If you're not going to be effective with the bad arm, and no offense to Larry McSeed, because, I mean, he's badly hurt, but why stay in? And now he does leave the game.
Right after the play, he started waving to the bench. It was the same deal. Here they are. There's that right arm. Millington's going to cut back on it. He can't make the tackle. He can't get in there. He's protecting his injury. And he went right after that play and started waving to the Alouette bench saying, get me out. I just can't do it.
So now, Rashawn Giddings, Stephon Reed in there at linebacker with Gravely. Allen steps up, hits Alfred Jackson, and Jackson really gets whacked down there. Torrey Hunter got up to put the final stick on him. Alfred Jackson actually scored a 76-yard touchdown on a play like that earlier this year when he was covered by a linebacker, but that time the defensive back got him. He crosses midfield and gets to the Montreal 52-yard line. Well, the Owls defense is really going through some changes now as Rashawn Giddings steps out and Ray Bernard comes back in.
Anthony Drawhorn's playing linebacker.
Allen drops back, slings it over the middle for Trevathan. Anthony Drawhorn on the coverage, and I thought he might have gotten there before the ball did. But the best drive for the BC Lions in the second half will end with Lou Pasaglia and the kicking unit coming on the field.
Well, I think you have a bit of an argument, Gord, because Drawhorn breaks on the football coming across, and his right arm, look at his right arm, was all over the back of Mike Trevathan. Now, he did cleanly hit it with his left hand, but that right hand was on the back of Trevathan's jersey.
And Mike Trevathan having a quiet night for the BC Lions. He does not have a catch. Chris Wright back to receive the kick from Lou Pasaglia. This is about the spot where Terry Baker took off. Is the 43-year-old Pasaglia up to a run? He's thinking about it, and now he wants to throw. He dumps it for Tyrone Chapman. He fumbles the ball. Frank Pimiskern gets it, but a flag comes down. I don't know if Tyrone Chapman's eligible. That may be the issue.
Says he's an up-back.
I think you have to check in as an eligible receiver, though, if your number is in the 50s or 60s. Well, this will be an interesting conversation.
Well, Pimiskern takes it out of bounds and definitely has enough yardage for the first down.
Look at this conversation. Dave Ritchie's in the middle of it. You always got to love when they make the call right by the sidelines, because you got about 40 guys there to help you with the rules interpretation.
Come on, get it. Take charge of the game, you ugly.
This is a long discussion. And the penalty is against the BC Lions.
Louis Pasaglia is trying to explain where Tyrone Chapman lined up in the formation. He was back off the line of scrimmage. So
now Ken Lazaruk actually have to explain this to Tracy Ham. I think it's ineligible man downfield is what they're calling. See, there's Chapman.
Yeah, Chapman's right there to the outside. Now he sees it, goes and catches the football, but he lined up off the ball.
Receiver, BC, number 56. Third down, repeated.
See, he can line up as an eligible receiver. He's just got to check in, though.
Yeah, he's just got to let him know. And that was not a design fake by Louis Pasaglia. He did that on his own. Chapman had no idea till he turned around, so obviously the Lions didn't report anybody as eligible receivers.
If your number is in the 40s, 50s, or 60s, you have to report as eligible.
Which is too bad for Louis Passagle, because that might have increased his passing stats to about 62%.
Yeah. Well, he's got another chance here, but now he really have to swing it. It's 3rd and 15. After they explain that call to every single person on the field. And Passagle will now kick it. Big high kick to Chris Wright back at the 15-yard line. Here comes Chris Wright, lost the ball. A flag comes down. A 47-yard punt, but it looks like the BC Lions got it back. And it is BC ball. Now the key question, with under 9 minutes to go, what will the penalty be? And that's a question we'll answer for you in a moment, with the Montreal Alouettes holding a 38-17 lead on the BC Lions. You've been sitting, hovering over your potato chips, wondering what was that penalty? Illegal block. Montreal declined, and the Lions, with a big break, get the ball at the Montreal 24-yard line with under 9 minutes to play in the 4th quarter. The time is now for the Lions to get their offense on track. Allen from the shotgun. Steps up away from the rush, and now Allen will take off. Here goes David Allen. Inside the 10. Allen, touchdown.
Equally as important as it was for BC to score, it was to score quickly, and Damon Allen in one play gets it done. And how does he get it done? Running the football.
$5 fine.
No.
You said
it's worth $5. I don't care.
A disappointed Dave Ritchie looks on as it takes the BC Lions exactly one play to take advantage of the turnover. Passagle puts the point after up and good, and whoa! Who oiled his spikes?
He's got to get a sharpener out and sharpen the spikes.
He's got the butter knives in those things, and it's just not working. Now look out on the way down. They're still picking the slivers out of the last guy who went down like that. Wow, what a run by Damon Allen, 24 yards for the touchdown.
Really is, and when he gets out in the open field, he's so great to watch because he's got that smooth speed to the outside. A couple of defenders here, Nash and Stephon Reed, have a chance to get him, but he's so smooth, he gets to the outside and just takes off, uses his speed. This is where he's most effective. Watch how quickly he hits this line that breaks. He doesn't look like he's moving until you get right up close to him.
And keep in mind, too, he's running through a Montreal defense that's been debilitated by a couple of injuries, so assignments and things like that might get crossed up when a guy like Allen improvises.
Now, the thought here is, do the Lions go with an onside kick with 8 minutes and 19 seconds left?
No. They're down 14 points. What are you, nuts?
Kick it away?
What are you, nuts?
Maybe, well, they got a whole bunch of DBs over here. That's the only reason I said it. Robert Holland is on our side. Craig Frères is with him, Frank Pimiskern, and Andrew English.
I'll tell you what.
Those are not the normal kickoff
$5 you owe me, I'll give it back of the short kick.
Oh, there it is! And it's caught!
And it's caught perfectly by Robert Holland. But guess what?
Did he kick it 10 yards?
There's a flag. Now, let's see what this penalty is. Oh, there is no flag.
No flag. Oh! Now, you double your money there. I want $10 for that.
Wow.
That was not the regular kickoff team for the BC Lions on this side of the football. They had DBs over here. Robert Holland catches it in stride, takes it out of bounds. Thank you very much for the $5.
I was going to tell you that Cal Murphy, watching tonight in Regina with his broken wrist, would have been all over you for saying that. But having said that, Cal Murphy will now be all over me for saying that. And Julio Caravana with a big smile.
What a perfect kick, too.
A little left-footed action, too. Now Allen from the shotgun. And he'll take off again. Allen across midfield, dives out inside the 50 to the Montreal 49-yard line. A gain of 9.5, we'll call it. It'll bring bring up second and short.
Damon Allen's starting to take things into his own hands a little bit now. If he doesn't see what he likes downfield, immediately he's taking off. And you saw him take a hit and try and stretch out and get the first down. Now he's in a situation with about a half a yard to go that he might have a waist down. Now, if the Lions are pulling out some tricks, like they did on the onside kick, this may be the one to do a little play action and go over the top.
Now Allen grimacing a little bit. Damon Allen looking like he was shaken up on that last run.
Now, you're going to bet $5 on the fake here and pass?
Sorry, Glenn, I don't gamble.
Okay.
I don't like that kind of lifestyle.
No wagering.
They give it up to Sean Millington, and he barrels his way for the first down as he gets down to the 47-yard line. Well, the Lions have slumbered for much of the first 3 quarters of this game, and I guess the Lions Sleep Tonight would be their theme song this evening. But now they spring to life in the 4th quarter thanks to the turnover and then the onside kick.
The turnover, the other key was Damon Allen, after the turnover, scored on the very first drive, didn't take really any time off the clock. So Adam Rita and Damon Allen now have lots of time to come back in this football game just down by 2 scores.
Allen in the shotgun on first down. Again, Corey Philpott is not in the Lions offensive set. Allen, lots of time. Underneath he goes, complete to Andrew English. And English gets up to about the 42-yard line. His first catch of the game. That's a gain of about 5. Andrew English, who broke his ankle in training camp last year, missed the whole year, comes back this season.
Yeah, he started out in Saskatchewan, then was picked up by the BC Lions from there this year. Adam Rita happy to have him in the lineup. Good 5th receiver.
Second down. Looks like some confusion in the Montreal defensive backfield. Flags are down. Allen's in trouble. Gets away from Swift Birch. Now Allen on the run. Sidearms it up there, and he's got Alfred Jackson. And Jackson is down to the 15-yard line. But
I think it's coming back.
The flag came down right at the line of scrimmage, and it's against the BC Lions.
There's a little bit of movement up front. I couldn't pick up the number, but I saw some movement up front from the BC Lions. I think this one's going to be procedure.
What a costly penalty that will be.
Procedure, BC, number 88. Second down, repeated.
Larry Thompson called for illegal procedure, the wide receiver.
Well, that play, though, Gord, he lined up in the slot back position. He normally is out at the wide receiver position. That time he was at the slot back spot, tried to get a little rush towards the line of scrimmage. He's way over to the left, and he jumps over the line trying to get a run at the ball, and this is what the Lions lose because of it.
A great scramble by Damon Allen, and the completion to Alfred Jackson. As it stands now, it's 2nd and 10. Allen steps up and throws it down there for Thompson, but it one hops to him. Incomplete. Boy, the penalty not only costly because it wipes out the game, but it takes the BC Lions out of field goal range. Now 3rd down for the Lions.
Well, that was a simple throw behind down the sideline. Thompson took off and expected the ball to come from behind him, but it one hopped, and no punting here for BC.
The Lions will gamble on 3rd and 11. Allen from the shotgun. Can't find anyone open and gets sacked by Alfred Payton. Alfred Payton appeared to be tied up, but gets his 2nd sack of the game, and the BC Lions turn the ball over on downs to Montreal with 5 minutes to go. 38-24, Montreal leads. The Lions are in it, but just barely. That 30 spot in the 2nd quarter certainly stands out, but so does the decision by the Lions to gamble on 3rd and 11 with 5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Why wouldn't you punt it and hem them in deep?
Well, we can always second guess, but Gord, I agree with you 100%. That puts Montreal way back, and the defense been playing pretty good for BC. I don't know.
First down, Montreal from midfield. They give it off to Mike Pringle. Here comes Pringle through the BC defense, and water skiing behind him was Tyrone Chapman, who had Pringle by the belt. But Mike Pringle still manages to barrel down for a pickup of 8 yards.
Mike Pringle gets stronger and stronger as the game goes by, and it's because of conditioning. In practice, every time he gets a handoff, no matter if it's the start of practice or the end, he'll take it, run through the line, and then sprint for about 50 yards on every single play. So when it gets late in the fourth quarter, like right now, he's still running as hard as he did in the first.
And the league's leading rusher with 119 yards tonight. Second and short. Pringle again. And a first down for Montreal again. I'll tell you what, 2 situations. 1, a cold weather game, and 2, protecting a lead. I take the Montreal offense over any team in the league.
I will not argue with that point one bit.
If I had a 7-point lead and 4 minutes on the clock and the ball, I'd love to have the Montreal offense. Just run the ball. And of course, when you got Mike Pringle, why not? And the Alouettes have taken much of the air out of this BC crowd, which kind of jumped into it when the Lions made some noise in the fourth quarter. Michael Souls now on the carry, the second half of that sledgehammer combination, down to the 36-yard line for a pickup of 6.
You know, when you have a guy like Mike Souls and Mike Pringle in the backfield, you're a defensive player, a linebacker, a defensive back, whoever it may be, and that momentum drops. About 5 minutes left in the game, you turn the ball over in downs. When you have a chance to come back, you lose your momentum and you lose your spirit. So when you go to tackle, the arms go down, the head drops a little bit, and you've seen about 3 or 4 missed tackles in the last 2 plays.
Well, there is nothing more demoralizing than a team that's running the ball down your throat. Ham now up and throwing, and he's got it complete there to Chris Armstrong. Armstrong's got some room to go, still going. Finally pushed down by Maurice Kelly at the 20-yard line. That's another Montreal Alouette first down. Montreal with a 14-point lead and the football as we hit the 3-minute warning in Vancouver. Here's the game story so far. What stands out to you, Mr. Suter? Yes.
You betcha.
The rushing yards. The Owls over 200 in this game. Mike Pringle's got 123 of them. The CFL's leading rusher now has 632 yards rushing on the year, and that translates into an 1,800-yard rushing season if he keeps up that pace. And his Alouettes have a first down, the ball at the 20, and a 14-point lead. What situation would you rather be in?
Well, when you talk about over 1,800 yards, if he keeps on pace, his best year was 94 when he was almost at 2,000. He had 1,972, and throw in maybe a couple 150-yard gains somewhere down the road, he might just eclipse his best year.
Pringle, who posted the highest single season total in CFL history, breaking the record of Willie Burden. First down from the 20. And back they go to Pringle, this time on the toss. And look at Mike Pringle. He's got 3 touchdowns in the game already and fighting for another as he gets down to the 3-yard line. And another Montreal Alouette first down. And if the BC Lions weren't demoralized before, yeah, they are now.
No, but we got to go back to the decision not to punt the ball. I mean, Mike Pringle takes off and runs, but you think back to Adam Dreda's decision not to punt the football on 3rd down. Now, as a defense, when you come on the field and Montreal is way back in their own end of the field, no matter where they caught that punt, you come up pretty fired up. You think you stop them in 2 downs, you get the ball back by midfield. Now, you don't get the first down on the gamble. They get the ball by midfield. You come out demoralized and you miss tackles.
On first down, they give it off. This time to Michael Souls, and Souls gets stopped after a gain of maybe a yard. That'll bring up 2nd and goal with under 2 minutes to play now in the fourth quarter. And remember, too, a key factor when you can run the football late in the game is how the clock works under 3 minutes. Every time you run the ball, the clock keeps moving. Incomplete passes, players going out of bounds, that's how you stop the clock. And the Montreal Alouettes can milk the clock as well as anyone in the league. Dave Ritchie back in BC. Now Tracy Ham to the end zone. Armstrong, touchdown. Chris Armstrong with the touchdown grab. And the Alouettes now will take it up over 40. With the point after to come, they can make it a 45-24 lead. And funny thing about this Montreal team, like we said, when they're good, they're great. Now, coming off 3 tough weeks, Dave Ritchie and company have reason to smile now after Chris Armstrong's touchdown catch tonight. That's his 3rd touchdown reception of the year.
Well, the BC defense truly demoralized on that drive. They didn't make any tackles on it, and they weren't covering anybody either.
Terry Baker for the point after. Now, we talked about how the BC Lions were looking to keep pace with the Edmonton Eskimos. Don't look now. The Lions dropped to 4-3 on the year, even with Saskatchewan. And they'll battle on Friday at Taylor Field. Let's take another look at the touchdown pass.
Robert Holland in bump and run. Chris Armstrong was pretty excited about trying to get a stat. Robert Holland's pretty down about the fact that his team didn't get the first down on a gamble. Can't get back there with them, so Armstrong gets the easy one.
Now the Alouettes will improve their record to 4-3 on the year. As you mentioned last night, the election desk, I think, declaring a Montreal victory tonight.
Yeah, I'd vote for it.
Now Adam Reed and company have to regroup because they've got to go to Saskatchewan on Friday night, and that's our game on Friday Night Football. Then they're home to Calgary, then they're at Montreal, then they're at Saskatchewan.
Wow. You know what? Adam Reed has got a couple things to think about after this game when he takes a look at the film, and the number 1 on the list has got to be his offense. I mean, he's got to come up with some ways to get Damon Allen to move around a little bit more and get Corey Philpott a little bit more involved if he's healthy enough to play next week.
Terry Baker sends it to Al Shipman again and hits him in the helmet. Picks it up at the 15-yard line, but here comes Al Shipman. Terry Baker with the tackle, and that's the 2nd time tonight we've seen a kicker make the tackle on a kickoff. Al Shipman gets stopped by Terry Baker up at the 50-yard line, and Baker got up first, so a moral victory as well for the Montreal kicker, but a 38-yard return for Al Shipman.
Well, Al Shipman has had some problems. He dropped one early in the game and sort of lost confidence, but you can see that one bounce off his face mask. The reason that happens is because he's looking at the ball as it's coming down in flight, and then just before he goes to catch it, he'll peek downfield to see where he wants to run. When he does that, takes his eyes off the football, and it hits him in the face mask.
Allen on first down from the 49. A long way to go. Allen slings it for Trevathan, his first catch of the game. And Trevathan laterals it out to Sean Millington, who gets 3 down to the 38-yard line, but give Trevathan points for ingenuity.
Hey, why not?
Not exactly the Stanford marching band play, but not bad.
They need more than the Stanford marching band play to come back in this game, but well, Mike Trevathan is another guy that really has to be used a little bit more. I remember watching a couple of games now that they've played that Trevathan has been open often, especially for touchdown throws, and Damon Allen just hasn't seen him. Here comes the pitch just after that to Millington.
First down to Alfred Jackson. He doesn't make the catch. By the way, if my dictionary of obscure references has gone too far back, for those of you who don't know, the University of California one time in a football game against Stanford lateraled the ball like 9 times and scored a touchdown with Cal's marching band on the field. That was the last college football game for John Elway, and they lost it. Actually, the last guy to lateral the ball played in the CFL for a while. He was a defensive back in Ottawa.
Wasn't Joe Kapp involved in that?
He was coaching Cal, yeah.
That's what I thought.
Second down now for the Lions. Allen from the shotgun. Under pressure, Allen trying to get away, and does. He'll have to run now. Oh, got a big block from Al Shipman. And now takes the shot from Anthony Drawhorn at the sideline. Steps out of bounds for a first down at the 24-yard line, but with 55 seconds left, time winding down on Damon Allen and company. 3 touchdowns, a great deal to ask in under a minute.
Well, we talked about Damon Allen and the offensive problems that the Lions have and has had in this game, but let's give credit to that Montreal defense. Here's a team that lost their middle linebacker early and has responded and competed against a team that is stocked full of great athletes in BC and played pretty well and shut down Damon Allen.
Montreal, the #1 defense in the league against the run. On first down, Allen to the end zone. Trevathan, touchdown! Mike Trevathan with the touchdown. His first of the year. And he's got to wait until week number 7 to get it.
Well, if there's anything positive you can take from this is that Damon Allen is finally finding number 77 down the field, and he has been open a few times tonight. Etsy Charles couldn't get over from the safety spot. He got pulled over by Damon Allen's look. Trevathan saw him go over there and went right down the hole and picks up the touchdown.
Mike Trevathan really is the football player's football player. Hard-working in practice, doesn't complain, tough.
He'd rather hit than catch sometimes.
Well, Pasaglia puts the point after up and good. Now the problem for BC, you've already shown them your short kickoff. And there goes that poor guy up the pole again. Yeah, a little better this time. Yeah, he's well rested. He just didn't want to go all the way to the top. Look out. I don't like the way down. That's the part that scares me. The up part's not so bad. It's the down part that might concern me.
Mike Trevathan is right here, goes right down the seam. NC Charles, number 6, goes to the field. He's out of the screen to your right, can't get back in time. You'll see him flash right there, number 6, way too far to the other side of the field.
You say that like that's happened to you.
Well, it's cat and mouse game with the quarterback and the safety. You're reading his head. If he looks you one way and you bite on it and take off and then goes back the other, the field's just too big for you to get back over there.
Now, Lou Pasaglia is out for the kickoff for BC. And Trevathan was actually supposed to be on the field and just joins the team now. But Pasaglia doesn't normally kick off for this team.
This is onside all the way.
Yeah. It's got to go 10.
Did that.
It's up. And it's fielded by Chris Armstrong, who's got some room to run if he gets a block. Not much over on this side of the field. Armstrong will just sit down now with his teammates and coaches screaming at him not to jeopardize the ball. He just sits down at about the 45-yard line.
Well, they tell you, Dave Ritchie, I'm sure has, when it's your hands team out there, you're going to receive the onside kick. Don't mess around with it. Get possession and fall down on the ground. And when Armstrong started running this way, we could hear him all the way up here telling him to lie down.
Well, things were so dismal for the Montreal Alouettes a week ago after getting smoked by Toronto at Skydome. Think about this. Montreal wins tonight. Say the Alouettes beat Hamilton next week and Edmonton beats the Argos at Skydome. That's a first-place tie in the East between Montreal and Toronto. Mike Pringle runs square to Tyrone Chapman. And Pringle with a couple of tough yards late in the game. And now some tempers flare once again.
Well, you know what, though, and I got to make a point of Tyrone Chapman here. I mean, he's down and out, demoralized from the game, this fourth quarter especially, but he comes up and puts a pretty good stick on Mike Pringle. And Mike Pringle's won a couple of those battles in this game, but Tyrone Chapman has a lot of pride in the middle. Came up there and put a stick on Mike Pringle.
And the BC Lions call timeout. With 40 seconds to go, maybe they have figured out a way to win the game with 24 points. No, sorry, 14 points they'll need in the last 40 seconds.
Ooh, I'd like to see that play.
Yes, that would be the touchdown onside kick touchdown play. We saw Sacramento do it once here actually a couple of years ago. They scored 2 touchdowns in the final 53 seconds of a game. But the quarterback who did that is now retired and working for us. So much for that theory.
Yeah.
Mike Pringle on second down gets down to about the 40-yard line. He'll be a couple of yards short of a first down. And here's what we were talking about earlier. Think about all the scenarios now in both the East and West Division. BC now goes to 4-3, tied with Saskatchewan. They meet next week. Edmonton at 6-1 plays Toronto.
Now remember, in the playoff format, if a team in the West, let's say, because they have the best records right now, team in the West is better than the third-place team in the East, they'll get in. So really, Hamilton, Winnipeg, and the last-place team in the West are fighting for that final playoff spot.
No kidding. And Toronto drops to 5-2 as Montreal improves to 4-3. So Calgary, if the season ended right now, Calgary would make the playoffs.
Absolutely.
And only Montreal and Toronto would make the playoffs in the East.
Right, so Montreal would play Calgary in the semis.
Exactly. Terry Baker will come on to punt for the Montreal Alouettes with the clock running. And I'm sure the Alouettes will simply let the 20-second clock run. Michael Souls, I think, will actually stand on the football to make sure it doesn't get snapped. As the
if they don't want the football to get snapped, just get Neil Fort to grab it or lie on it.
Flatten it. And this will be time count violation.
Yeah, they'll take the whole 20 seconds, go back 5 yards, and kick it from there. Doesn't matter anything to Terry Baker now.
Yes, we could just say that, you know. You don't have to stand there and do it. You could just say it.
Yeah, say, listen,
We take time count.
take it. You can put it 5 yards back. Let's just line it up. Forget about it.
Yeah. Well,
Especially when you're trying to catch a red eye. Huh, Gordon?
no, I'm not. No, I'm staying here tonight.
Okay.
Good kick by Terry Baker sends Shipman back to the 3. And Shipman doesn't get much farther as Hensey Charles gets down there to stop him at the 8-yard line. And that is the final play of the football game. The Montreal Alouettes snap their 3-game losing streak and improve their record to 4-3 and make the races in both the East and West a little more interesting in the process. Dave Ritchie wins back at BC Place as his Alouettes have one of the more impressive performances of this season.
It really was impressive. Tracy Ham looked healthy. He looked strong, ran the ball well, but I think Dave Ritchie had a great game plan to mix up the run game to Mike Pringle. He also involved Michael Souls more tonight than he has so far this season in any one game. So Dave Ritchie had a great game plan ready for the BC Lions. It was executed by Tracy Ham. They well deserved this victory.
Mike Pringle, a big story as well. He scores 3 touchdowns, and the Alouettes score a big win. Time now for the TSN Turning Point.
Well, the turning point was when Mike Pringle put on his uniform. Number 27 had a big day. This was the touchdown that iced it for the Montreal Alouettes, but huge game rushing for Montreal.
154 yards rushing for Mike Pringle and 3 touchdowns on the night, and that is the TSN Turning Point. A cash donation will be made to the Coaching Association of Canada for the training and development of Canadian coaches in amateur sport on behalf of TSN. We'll be back to talk to Montreal coach Dave Ritchie when we come back right after this.
Welcome back to CFL Live. The Montreal Alouettes getting back on the right track with an impressive 45-31 victory over the BC Lions tonight. Well, Dave Ritchie certainly has fond memories of BC Place in one event in particular, the Grey Cup in 1994. I don't know if this can top that, Dave, but I would think a very big win for you, the way things had been going for the Alouettes.
Yes, it has. Like I said, the last 3 weeks have been tough, and our guys worked hard all week, and we're really nicked up defensively, as you could see out there when we lost Randolph and number 31. But I'll tell you what, Mike Pringle took up the slack. He and Tracy called a great game and kept the ball going when he had to, and we're real happy about it.
Dave, it's Marty York.
Hi, Marty.
How you doing?
I'm good.
Dave, it's your first time back as a head coach in BC since you weren't rehired. How bitter were you at that time when you weren't rehired, and how sweet is this victory tonight?
Well, I live by code, Marty, and grace of the good Lord. I don't really get all bitter about it, but I'll tell you what, it's really nice to come in here last year as a defensive coordinator and then coming back here as a head coach this year and winning. I have fond memories of this place. I flew in and called my wife right away and told her how beautiful the mountains were. And you know what? It's their loss. That's all I can say.
Coach Ritchie is less.
Huh? Yeah, you're right.
You don't remember, Les? You remember the guy that's coaching your secondary and training camp coach?
I do.
Hey,
I
Coach,
remember him.
He said you know him.
Coach, I know how fiery you can get at halftime and before games when teams are playing bad. What did you say to these guys to make them come out and start playing through the adversities you know that they've been going through?
Well, as you can see, the first period was a little bit tough, too. We were going through it. I took a different approach today. I just said, hey, let's go out and have fun. We got 2 things to do. Go out and have fun and win a football game, because no matter how we've been playing the last 3 weeks, it's just, you know, it's not good for us, not good for Montreal and the people of Montreal. So maybe we'll get somebody in the stands back there for the next game coming in here. But we had a tough end of July, and you know how I go on 2 out of 3, and you win 12, you get in the playoffs. So right now we're in August, and if we do well in August, we're right back in the hunt.
Coach, it's Bob Obilovich here.
Hi, Bob.
I know you've had 3 tough weeks because you've played good football teams in those
That's
3
right.
weeks, and BC was on a roll, so, you know, this says a lot for your team and the character of your team, so you have to take some credit getting them ready. Did your veterans get involved at all as far as trying to get your people ready to play tonight? Because you seem to play with a lot more intensity tonight in all three phases. Like Chris Wright ran the ball a lot harder tonight as a return guy.
Yeah, we had planned to use Chris a little bit more in the offense and do some things with him like the rest of these teams do. But, you know, he's doing the returns, and he's got a little bit tired. We noticed something on the kickoffs where we could bring the ball back a little bit, and Scott did a good job getting that ready, and our other coaches did a super job getting them ready offensively and defensively. So, hey, you know, I'd still say it's a grace of good lot I'm even in this game. 37 years later. I've probably been in it as long as you've been alive, I think.
Okay, watch out now. You're treading on thin ice here.
I was wondering when you all were going to ever talk to me, you know.
Well, you had to win.
Oh, I know, but we won the first 3 weeks and I didn't see you.
Well, you're a good interview now, though.
Huh? I'm a good interview now,
ways.
right? Yeah, right. I'm not leaving here because I'm not a good interview anymore. I think I'm too good an interview.
Said that. Marty started that rumor.
No, now, that was more than just a rumor, wasn't it, Dave?
I don't think so. I think I've always been a good interview. It's just I tell it like it is, and some don't like to hear it that way.
Okay, Coach, I got another question for you. I know at the beginning, don't get all worried. Right. I know at the beginning of the season that during camp we were talking about Charles Gordon returning to this team.
Right.
Now that we know that he's available, what's going to happen there?
Jim's been talking to him and talking to his agent, and you know, I was hoping that Charlie would be back, but I think it's up to Charlie now. I think they're talking, so that's all I know. And you know, it's really in his ballpark, I think. So you know, Gil and Jim Pop have been talking, so you know, it's up to him. I hope he comes back, but it's up to him.
Listen,
I
Dave,
hope they all come back. We got so many injuries now. I think we lost Randolph now.
Yeah.
And that's tough. And you know, we had a tackle that he came to the warm-ups last week and played in the game, and you know, that's kind of tough on him. So we got a few of those things, but we got to work our way through them. And maybe by the end of October or beginning of November, we'll have them all well.
Dave, let go of those earphones now. You're going to hurt your head.
I know. I can't hear you.
That's the first time anybody has said that, the way we've been going on. Listen, you talk about comebacks. A nice comeback for your Montreal Alouettes tonight, right back in the thick of it.
Yeah, you even got me smiling, Les, I'll tell you. I know.
Anyway, Coach.
You sure you don't have any eligibility, Les? I know we could find a spot for you.
Where? At safety? The Drawhorns got that taken up now.
No, we ain't going to put you at safety. We'll put you at the corner and our halfback. You know, where you didn't like to play.
He can't even catch up to Bob Bilovich anymore.
Those 98 interceptions and what have you.
Well, listen, Coach, I don't know how that ever started about you not being a good interview, because we've had a pretty good one with you now. And I'll let you head off and rejoin your team and celebrate another victory. Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Hi, Sharon.
Thanks again.
Can I make a phone call? Hi, Sharon. How you doing? Love you, baby. I'll be home sometime tomorrow.
And we'll take care of the bill. Thanks very much. Dave Ritchie. Yeah. Well, you got to wonder. I mean, he's certainly not lacking things to say for whatever has been said. I mean, he does tell it like it is.
Well, I think right at the beginning of the year, Jim Pop sat him down and said, hey, Dave, loosen up and be a coach. And not only that, be a good interviewer, just let yourself go.
Well, how can you be a good interviewer? You just got to be yourself, I think. And that's what Coach is. He's always been himself.
I think Larry Smith's probably rubbing off on him.
Now, what does that mean? You're not going to expand on it.
He's talking a lot more now.
Well, listen, let's just have a quick thought about this game tonight. You talked about it before the game even began. They've got to come out and show a little bit more, something they have lacked in the last 3 weeks. They certainly did.
Well, you know, during the preseason game, when they got slaughtered by Toronto 40-0, I was on the sidelines then, and I just saw no emotion in these guys, even when they were getting the crap beat out of them. So I wanted to see if they could come out while they were having some bad times happen to them and just pick up their game, and they did tonight, which was excellent to see.
And I don't think anybody picked up his game more than Mike Pringle did. As the saying goes, with Montreal's offense, you stop Pringle, you basically shut them down. Well, BC certainly couldn't shut down Mike Pringle tonight. Another excellent football game, and you have had many, Mike. Congratulations. Just tell me about this one and how it felt to get things back on track for your team.
Well, we were able to come out and initiate our offense on the ground and pretty much stay with our game plan throughout the entire game. We were unable to do that in games past because we were trying to catch up, and we were unable to do the things that we do best, and that's run the football. But we were able to do that today, start with the run and get some of the long balls in and basically do a whole bunch of ball control.
Mike, this is Les Brown.
Hey, how you doing, Les?
Not bad. Earlier in the year, Mike, speaking of the run, on first down, teams were stacking the defensive line, anticipating the run and shutting you down. So did you guys see something in that and maybe go to play action and come back to the run? Because you seem to have a great day today.
Well, we were just taking advantage of what BC's defense was giving us. All the teams that we play throughout this league, they're going to put 7, 8 in the box and play low with the safety. And, you know, that's no big surprise. So we just have to make plays down the field, get the ball to our receivers, and eventually the running game will open. And I haven't been shut down. It's just the way the games have been going.
Hi, Mike. It's Marty York. I heard rumblings that you were involved in a post-game incident last week that maybe fired up your teammates. Is that true, and can you elaborate on that a little bit?
I don't know what you heard.
I just heard a rumbling that you were involved in a post-game incident. Is that not accurate?
You have to be more specific than that.
Well, okay, I will. I'll be more specific. I heard you choked a teammate. Is that true?
I don't know where you heard that from, that's ridiculous. I don't even believe that you would ask me that question on national TV without asking me privately. That is completely false, and I don't believe you would even say something like that. I am not, and nor have I ever been the type of person or athlete that will go out and choke a coach or anybody on my team that protects me or coach me. If you know me, you wouldn't even ask me that question. That was a ridiculous question.
Well, that was precisely why I asked it, so you had a chance to deny it, and you have. But it still had to be asked because that was something that was floating around.
Okay, Mike, I'm almost afraid to ask you this question. It's Bob Obildich, because I've been watching you play for quite a while since you came into the league, and tonight you've already mentioned how you established the running game. One thing I've been probably critical about watching your team play offensively is that I keep looking for you guys to find a wide receiver that can make plays, so it can take some pressure off the running game, as well as your slot backs, and that seems to still be missing with your football team.
Well, we're trying to do some different things at wideout, get the ball to Chris Wright in some different ways, but I think Chris Armstrong and Jack Climby are doing an excellent job for us. We just have to continue to be consistent and make plays when called upon.
Well, Mike, 3 touchdowns, well over 100 yards, another big night for you and for the Montreal Alouettes, getting back in the win column. Thanks very much for joining us.
Right.
Mike Pringle of the Alouettes, who are back in the win column with a record of 4-3, and that happens to be the record of the BC Lions as well. And this situation, BC has looked better before offensively. They managed to rack up 31 points, but it seemed to come quite sporadically. And because of it, they are tied with Saskatchewan for second in the CFL West, now 4 points behind the Edmonton Eskimos. CFL Live will be back to wrap it up right after this. Don't go away.